Hey guy, how are you all beautiful people are doing? Hope all of you are doing fine, and yes, this is the next season of I Am Thanos. Lukas reincarnated in the Marvel world after Thanos snapped his fingers. Just after being reincarnated, his head and arm were chopped off by Thor. Fortunately, Lukas brought a golden finger with him, a system. As long as he gets favorability of superheroes, he will get exchange points that can be used to buy many abilities and items. Mutants Abilities, Fate /0 Gilgamesh's Gate of Babylon, Magical Spells of Journey to the West, and the Immortal World's cultivation techniques. Well, in order not to be killed by Avengers, I will do whatever it takes. So let's start without any delay. On the 24th of April, at 3 a.m., Lukas was watching the premiere of Avengers 4 at the theater. Then he left the theater and was driving home, queued out of the mall to buy fried chicken, waiting for another half an hour. Meanwhile, Lukas was exhausted. But unfortunately, he had an accident on the road and died. But when he opened his eyes again, Lukas found himself in a paradise-like world. The sky there was so clear as if it has just been washed, its color was turquoise blue like in the portraits, and everywhere in the field of his vision, and there were clusters of flowers, peach blossoms, and willow greens. Plus to the many wild fruits that he has never seen in his past life. It was an irresistible scene. Was I born again? Lukas looked at the scene in front of him, and his heart was beating so fastly. Seeing the unique fruits in front of him, Lukas took out his right hand and gently picked an orange fruit that looked like mango but 10 times larger than a normal mango. Meanwhile, he suddenly noticed that his right hand was huge. It was many times bigger than the normal size in his previous life. Not only that, his hand's color was purple. Damn it! What is happening to me? Lukas was a little flustered, but his rebirth was certain. He doesn't believe in the idea of going to heaven after death, although he kind of felt like he is in heaven there. Moreover, Lukas saw a river not far away, so he ran over there quickly. He wanted to see his current shape reflection on the water. After a few steps, Lukas arrived at the clear site of the river. He found that he was tall and thick, at least 2 meters tall. Am I reincarnated as a monster? Lukas was nervous and scared, but he gathered up his courage and looked at the river. I saw a domineering and familiar face reflected in the water. This is Thanos. I was reincarnated as Thanos. Is this the time where he retires after snapping his fingers? Wow, ha 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 ha, I came to the Marvel world, and I've become Thanos. This is very exciting. Lukas laughed madly, but just after getting excited, he couldn't help coughing. Cough cough cough. Lukas coughed several times before puking blood. Damn it, what's happening to me? Lukas unconsciously looked at his left hand. He knew that Thanos used to wear the infinite glove on his left hand. When he saw the glove, Lukas's legs went weak, and he fell to the ground. Damn it, and there was not a single gem on the infinite glove. After watching Avengers 4, Lukas knew that someone did not steal these gems, but Thanos himself did it. He used one gem to destroy the other one until they were all ruined. Because of this, Thanos almost killed himself. Now his body is extremely weak, and he doesn't even have 10% combat power. No, I can't farm here as a normal farmer. Soon Nebula will tell Captain Marvel about my location. If they come, I will be finished. In the original plot of Avengers 4 that I just watched, Captain Marvel, Thor and others came to find Thanos, who was in retirement. Thor used the storm axe to cut off Thanos' left hand and then directly chop off Thanos' head. Thanos couldn't even fight back. Just as Lukas was thinking about escape, he didn't expect an extremely shining light to suddenly appear in the sky, and the light rushed to this side from the sky. A powerful female voice came from the sky. F******K, it's Captain Marvel. Lukas looked at the sky. Before he could react, Captain Marvel sent a powerful attack towards him, and the whole ground trembled. After Captain Marvel arrived, Thor, Thanos' daughter Nebula, Captain America, Black Widow, and Little Raccoon also rushed. Thor didn't say a word, and he slashed Thanos' hand directly. After cutting it, he saw that there were no gems on his gloves. Without a word, he also chopped Thanos' head with an axe. No. Now Lukas is Thanos, and Thanos was so happy to be reincarnated just now. Who knows, I was beaten to death by the Thunder God less than a minute after being reincarnated. Thor. I'll can kill you. Lukas yelled hysterically. Lukas was upset. He died as soon as he was born again. It was too much to handle. He was the unluckiest person in history who has just reincarnated. Hey, no, if I was dead, why would I still be conscious? Suddenly, Lukas heard a voice. There was a sound of a machine rang in his mind. System, congratulations to the host for getting Thanos' superhuman system. It has been detected that the host is in a condition of dying. The system will give the host a gift, the Holy God. Do you want to use it now? System. This is a second chance. Lukas was very happy. Sure enough, luck did not leave him the moment he was just born again. He even has acquired a system. Thanos is an existence that most people are afraid of. To be reborn as Thanos, it's not something everyone wants. Who can say that people regularly loved Thanos? Now Lukas is confused and could not think more about that, so he used the beginner's gift package given by the system first. As for the Holy God ability, there is no need for a systematic explanation, and Lukas also knows that this ability is from the famous mobile game Glory of the King and it can resurrect its user. In other words, Thor didn't kill Lukas. However, even if he has reincarnated, Lukas still has some worries. Because in the game of King of Glory, the Holy God ability, if you die you got reincarnated in the same spot 2 seconds after death. Anyone who has played the game knows that even if you have reincarnated defense, if you die in front of many people, you will just be reincarnated in the same place you have been killed. He will be beaten to death again immediately. The current situation is the same. If Lukas is reincarnated in 2 seconds, then Thor will not hesitate to cut Lukas's body off. He didn't want to die twice as soon as he was just born again. Lukas asked the Holy God, how much time takes the reincarnated system? 5 years. Use it right away. It's not 2 seconds, fantastic, I still have an opportunity. Later immediately, the system used the Holy God ability on Lukas. Then Lukas had temporarily lost his consciousness, and he had to wait 5 years before he could be reincarnated. Meanwhile, seeing Thanos, who was responsible for the vanishing half of the universe, Thor, Captain Marvel, and others were silent for a while. The little raccoon wanted to talk more with Thanos. He didn't expect Thor to cut Thanos as soon as he appeared. He looked at Thanos' body and complained, Thor, what have you done? Thor smiled. Now, I can return to my home to Asgard. Captain America Steve Rogers thought a little bit. He understands what Thor meant. In Wakanda, when everyone was fighting against Thanos, just because Thor could not rush to chop him, Thanos had a chance to snap his fingers, and because of this, they lost a lot of friends. Therefore, this time Thor was determined and quickly cut him the moment he saw Thanos. Nebula looked at her father's body with a sad expression. She was upset. She asked everyone, "What do you plan to do with Thanos's body? He is from an eternal race. His body is different from your human's body, even after his death. Now, the body will not be corrupted either." Steve Rogers said, "I want to take him to the Earth and put him in the Avengers Tower. First, he pays honor to our lost comrades. Second, I will always keep an eye on him so his body will always alert me. I failed to stop him once. I will not fail again. Steve." The Black Widow Natasha Romanoff saw Steve blamed himself, and she patted Steve's back comfortingly. Although Thanos is dead, no one thinks they are victorious because their lost friends, Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, and half of the entire universe have all disappeared. With endless sadness and Lucas's body, everyone returned to the Earth. 5 years later, the Avengers building in NY City. Lucas slowly awakened in the darkness. Because of the Holy God ability, his body had returned to its original shape, and the head and arms that the Thunder God had cut off were also back. Ahem. Lucas still felt a little weak. Although it was Thanos' body, it took a lot of effort to push the door of the coffin open. After seeing the sun again, Lucas was very excited. "Ha ha, I'm reincarnated again. Avengers, didn't you expect it? Thor, you wait, I will get my strength back. And I will take my revenge." He was beaten to death by Thor just after he was reincarnated. I wouldn't say I like Thor. Although Thor is a good character, Lucas will not kill him, but he still has to give him the necessary lessons. Where is this place? Lucas came out of the coffin and looked around. It was early morning, and the room was dark. Lucas didn't dare to turn on the lights, but he hardly saw an A-shaped logo. Avengers. The Avengers Tower. This is the Earth. Lucas thought about this place for a while, then he opened the window and looked out. He was sure that it was the Earth. He didn't expect that they would bring Thanos' body back to the Earth, putting it in the Avengers Tower. K, I have just been reincarnated, and the Avengers will kill me again. Just what did I do in my past life? If he died again, Lucas would probably vanish. He asked the system quickly in previous days. I have now almost gathered his left power, Thanos. System, due to the destruction of the Infinite Glove, plus the injured of Thor, now you only possess less than 1% of the strength of Thanos's power. With this weak power, even the Raccoon and Black Widow can kill me. This is their place. K, if I don't get out of here, I will be dead. No, I have to get out of here. Lucas was panicked. What he fears most now are the Avengers. In his past life, he loved the movie, and he was a huge fan. Now he is Thanos, and the Avengers are the enemy after Thanos's action. I guess I didn't need to say anything when I met, and they started the fight directly. Lucas now somewhat understands why the system's name is so popular, and he also wants to turn Thanos into a good person. Lucas's huge body stepped out of the room with trim and fragmentary steps and suddenly saw that the light in the next room was still on. It's so late. Who's still inside? Black Widow. Captain Marvel. Iron Man. Lucas hadn't planned to go there, but the exit was over there. He also had to step forward and saw inside through the window, and he found that she was Black Widow Natasha, who was drinking alone. You could tell she was drunk just by looking at her eyes. She has already drunk 2 bottles of red wine alone. Seeing the Black Widow Natasha, Lukas couldn't help but look more. Natasha is indeed a gorgeous and charming woman. She has a very sexy body. She has long blonde hair, and the ends of her hair were colored special. Looks even more fascinating. Lukas couldn't stop looking. When I think of Durant saying on Twitter that he wants to drink Scarlett's bath water, Lukas didn't stop looking at her with drooling his saliva. Now Natasha is very drunk. For many men, it's an excellent chance to get near her. But Lukas won't take this risk. Natasha was a super agent trained in the Red House of the former Soviet Union, so it's better not to say hello to her. But at this moment, the system made a loud noise. The target character Natasha Romanoff is detected. Identity: a member of the Avengers, nicknamed Black Widow. Character level: **. If the host gets Natasha's like, he will receive 5,000 points. Lukas wanted to go and immediately stopped. It turns out that the likes of others obtain the points of this system. The higher the level, the stronger the strength, and the more points he gets. And these points can be exchanged for a lot of good things. Now Lukas has Thanos' face and body, but he doesn't have the strength of Thanos. Whether he is on the Earth or on other planets, he will die if others see him. Therefore, he must obtain points. The more he receives points, the more he gets the abilities to save his life. However, Natasha hated Thanos so much. Let's have a chance now, and it is harder to get her likes than to get to the sky. It is so sad seeing her like this, now that she is drunk, thanks to Thanos. Oh, forget it, let's find other people first. I can easily get the like of other people with lower levels first and then collect it slowly. Lukas still felt that he had just hurried in his decision. It was a bit risky. But at this moment, Natasha suddenly threw the red wine bottle on the wall and yelled, "Thanos! You come out! I know you did not destroy the infinite gems. Tell me, where did you hide them?" Natasha stood up, picked up a red wine bottle again, shaking her sexy body. She just looked like those girls who were drunk in the bar and had their bodies rolling right and left. Hearing Natasha's words, Lukas thought between himself, she wants to bring those people back through infinite gems now. Maybe, I can use this to get her likes while she is drunk. It's a great opportunity. If Natasha were sober, Lukas would leave without saying a word, but Natasha was completely drunk, and this is not just normal drunkenness. The super agents of the Red House were always trained well at drinking. The reason Natasha gets drunk is not because of her drinking but because she wants to be drunk. When she is sad, even a glass of wine can make her drunk. So Lukas opened the door. "Natasha!" Lukas called with Thanos' rough voice. "Thanos!" Natasha was surprised. She was a little sober, but then she patted her head again and said to herself, "No, Thanos has been beaten to death by Thor, and his head was separated from his body. No, this is not true. I am drunk, ha ha. I have delusions." Lukas came in, and he did not go towards Natasha. He stood at the door, leaning against the wall, and said, "Yes, I am your fantasy. Come out, since you want to talk to me, it doesn't matter if I was real or not. Tell me what do you want to know, and I will answer you." Natasha's teary eyes were dim, and she pointed to an empty place. And she said, 3 hours ago, and I had an unusual meeting with Captain Marvel Carol Danvers, Rocket Raccoon, and others. Carol had cut her hair, and she was still floating on other planets. They told me one thing about me, that they found Hawkeye. At this point, Natasha was even sadder, and Lukas answered, Hawkeye, I know that after he lost his family, he has become ruthless. You caused all of this. Look at what you did, and you took his entire family. Natasha yelled hoarsely. Lukas took a breath and said, I didn't have a chance to choose before. Now I want to be a good person. A smile appeared on Natasha's sad and hazy face. Then you tell me, where did you hide the infinite gems? You didn't destroy them, did you? Natasha always had hope in her heart. She expects Thanos to say that it is fake, and the infinite gems are still there. To reincarnate everyone. Lukas got along with Natasha's thoughts and agreed, yes, Natasha, how can I destroy the infinite gems that I have gathered after so long of planning? I did hide them in an extraordinary place. Where did you hide them? Tell me. Natasha suddenly walked up to Lukas, and Lukas was panicked. Fortunately, Natasha was drunk. Otherwise, Lukas would be F********KED. Lukas completely stabilized his flustered heart and then said, they are in my heart. In your heart. How can I get them? Can Thor's axe dug them out of your heart? Natasha wiping away her tears, and she asked like a little girl. Lukas was terrified when he heard that, F*******K, not Thor again. I will not mess with you guys again. He had already chopped off Lukas's hands and head once, and you still want him to dig my heart again. Lukas quickly said, Natasha, these infinite gems can only be felt by the heart. Even if you let Thor dig out my internal organs, you still can't find it. Natasha looked impatiently, how do you feel with your heart after what you did? Give me the location of the infinite gems, so can I reincarnate the half of the universe, and I will give you anything you want, even if it was my life. Looking at Natasha's serious face, Lukas didn't doubt what Natasha said. In Avengers 4, Natasha sacrificed for the reincarnation plan. She takes the lead to sacrifice. Hawkeye and Natasha are on the edge of the cliff on the planet Voma, begging each other to die, and the scene where Natasha takes the lead to release the rope, and she falls. Lukas, it's very simple. I like myself now. If only you can see how much I have changed, you will like me, and you can feel my heart and will know the true location of the 6 infinite gems. Lukas also made up this improvisation temporarily, not sure if Natasha, who had read countless people, would be fooled. But in the next second, Natasha took action to stand on her feet, and she kissed Lukas. I'm going, is this too honest? Lukas was surprised. Natasha took Lukas's words seriously. She thought if she earns Thanos's like, he will give her the gems for the universe. She pretends to like Thanos for a short time, and slowly she starts seducing him. I like the action that she will do later. Like kissing, like. I like you, Thanos, I like you so much. Natasha said these inspirational words while kissing Lukas. She seems to lie. Some lies, told 10,000 times, the wrong, have become right. Oh, Thanos, you are so tall, dear. Can you sit down? I'm tiring to kiss you. Natasha is only 1.6 meters, and Thanos is more than 2 meters, so standing kiss feels uncomfortable. No way, just how many men fell for her? Am I living the dream? It's not every day a god of beauty took action to kiss you, and Lukas couldn't think of any reason for rejection. He also wants to gain points through Natasha's like, and Natasha also wants to save the lost Avengers comrades. You can say that both sides get what they need. Oh, dear, so many things started with a simple kiss. It didn't take long for Natasha to have a relationship with Lukas. Oh my god, Thanos and Black Widow were F************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************ After a while of ups and downs, looking at the Black Widow sleeping on the floor, me holding her hair, I couldn't accept this reality, at least not in his past life. In the last few tens of minutes, Lukas also wholly understood the physical difference between ordinary people and superheroes. If you back to Lukas from his previous life, he had a small body. He used to be loved. He had family, friends, a house, and a car. But Thanos's body, even if it was injured and didn't have much strength, but for Lukas, this body was perfect for doing this kind of thing. Now, after the relationship, the Black Widow fell asleep. System, congratulations to the host for winning Natasha's likes. You have earned 5,000 points. Would you like to redeem the goods now? Lukas wanted to kiss Natasha a few more times. Hearing the voice of the system, he immediately stood up. Yes. I want to exchange my points for something that can change my shape. Is there any? Now the remaining half of the entire universe hated Thanos to death. Lukas had to change his shape. Otherwise, it would be very dangerous. Lukas has to wait until all of Thanos's strength is restored, and Lukas's true face will be revealed again. System, recommend the host to obtain the variant ability of Mystique Women Shapeshifting ability. You can exchange 5,000 points to gain it. Oh. The ability of mutants. Lukas also knew something about Mystique Women's ability. She was not in the MCU movie universe but the X-Men series. This hero was a mutant. She could become anyone and even delay aging. Lukas didn't hesitate and immediately said, exchange now. System, congratulations to the host for possessing the mutant ability of Mystique Women. The host can become any character he wants. Lukas looked at Natasha, and she was sleeping on the ground with messy clothes. He quickly changed his appearance to Natasha's look. Indeed, he changed from a tall Thanos to a small and lovely Black Widow. Yes, now I will not get killed by the Avengers when they see me. It's been 5 years since people disappeared. Ant-Man Scott will soon return from the subatomic space. Once Scott finds the Avengers, he will start the plan of time-space traveling. Once Iron Man gets the glove and snaps his fingers, I will turn to ashes. At the ending of Avengers 4, Iron Man and other heroes traveled back in time through time and space, and they got 6 gems. Then Thanos grabs the Infinity Glove, and Iron Man snatches the gems back. In the end, Iron Man snapped his fingers, Thanos and all the villains turned to ashes, and Iron Man himself died because he couldn't handle the power of the gem. Lukas must change in the sequence of events because once Iron Man snaps his fingers, he will die too. Now, Lukas made a plan to find Ant-Man Scott Lang's daughter, Cassie, to get closer to her. Because when Scott comes back, he will find his daughter first, then he will head to Avengers Tower. Once Lukas gets Cassie's trust, as long as Scott comes back, Lukas will be the first to know. Scott is an essential character in Avengers 4. Iron Man and the others could have a chance to bring back the disappeared people because of Scott's time travel idea. Therefore, Lukas must make good use of Scott's character. Lukas raised Natasha's white soft hand and looked at the time in her fine female watch. It was already early in the morning, and it seemed inappropriate to find Ant-Man's daughter. Lukas left Avengers Tower and searched for another place to stay, and after that, he will search for Cassie. Lukas tidied Natasha's messy clothes, then tied her to the chair, so when she woke up, she realized that her relationship with Thanos was not a dream but a real thing. Natasha was in perfect shape. After he tied her to the chair, her body was a little messy, so Lukas couldn't help but clean her up before leaving the Avengers Tower. NY City is a world-famous international city. The Avengers Tower is located in Manhattan, the center of NY in Marvel World, the wealthiest area. Those high buildings were built decades ago. However, when Lukas walked in the streets of NY, he found that the city's streets were surprisingly abandoned. In his previous life, Lukas was from California. Both California and NY City are international cities. Even at night, it is a bustling night scene with countless people walking. However, now, there is not a single person in the whole street. Although there are many tall buildings, there are few places that have their lights on. Lukas changed his look to his previous life, then walked to a hotel and walked to the reception. The receptionist was a young girl, and there was an older woman in her 50s. Lukas is also sincere. "Hello, I want to stay in the hotel, but I lost my ID card. Can I stay here?" The older woman waved to Lukas, motioned to let him come over. She hugged Lukas and then told him, "Child, no ID card, no money, this is the key. You can stay here as much as you want. No need to pay money." Lukas was a little surprised. Just in case if he needs something, when he left the Avengers building, he even took a few $100s. The old woman sighed sadly, "Oh, people are gone, what's the use of money? There are half of the people in the world now, and many homes are empty, and even a few people come to stay. I don't know when it happens, or how long it takes, but I'm sure that one day my son will come back to me." The older woman became sad, and it could be seen that she also lost her relatives because Thanos snapped her fingers, and the city's abandonment was also because of this. A world with half of the people. Lukas was confident that the world he came into used to be a complete world. Lukas slept. She gave him the key to the best room in the hotel. The following day, he said goodbye to the old woman and said to her, "I hope the hotel will keep going. Maybe your son will come back someday." Thanos has caused many people to lose their relatives, and Lukas plans to bring these people back to life again. He will be a good version of Thanos and correct his previous mistakes. Therefore, he has to get into the Avengers camp and join Ant-Man, Iron Man, and others when they launch the time-traveling plan. To reincarnate the other half of people, he cannot allow Iron Man or anyone else to gather the gems or use them, otherwise, he will vanish. Since the number of people has been reduced by half, the number of flights has also been significantly reduced. Lukas waited until the afternoon to get on the plane from NY to San Francisco. Even when he got on the plane, there were a few people on the plane. The flight attendant sits in the seat next to Lukas. And she asked him, "Sir, do you want another cup of coffee?" The flight attendant, who looked like Anne Hathaway, sat next to Lukas, wanting to refill the coffee. "No need, sweetheart." Lukas smiled. "A few years back, I was dangerously ill and didn't go out much, so I want to know, in the past 5 years, was it always the people in plane that flew?" Lukas looked at the empty seats, and only 2 or 3 people were sitting. It was almost the same as a chartered flight. There were fewer people, but the profits were increased. The flight attendant smiled and said, "After Thanos snapping his fingers, many planes had accidents, and the airport staff was reduced by half, and it was impossible to continue flights. There weren't enough pilots. The planes around the world have been lifted for a while, even if they resume flights. This year has been considered good. It turned out to be like this." Lukas sighed and suddenly asked her, "By the way, when Thanos snapped his fingers, where were you? What were you doing? Did anyone disappear in front of you?" Unexpectedly, the flight attendant was a little shy when she heard it, 5 years ago, I was a little girl. At that time, I was alone with my boyfriend in our house, and we were in the middle of something, then he disappeared. Ah. Lukas was embarrassed for a while. This kind of experience is hard for anyone, especially for you as a little girl. This flight attendant, who looked like Anne Hathaway, was very talkative so that Lukas was not bored in the 6 hours of flying, and she also helped Lukas get rid of aerophobia, T/N, the fear of flying, that he had in his previous life. Flying on a plane in his previous life, flight attendants seemed hard to speak with, and they were cold-hearted. It is challenging for you to say a word to these young ladies or ask for their number or something. But reincarnation here changed him from a normal person to Thanos, and it seems that the system increased his luck. Last night, he had a chance with the Black Widow Natasha. He couldn't forget her loud moans and sexy postures. Now, comparing with his previous life, Lukas has become a professional in flirting with women. Lukas indulges in talking to the flight attendant. "Oh, no, it seems that we have arrived. I enjoyed talking with you, Lukas. Sir, in San Francisco later, do you have time? Maybe we can have a drink." The flight attendant insistently invites Lukas. Lukas was a little embarrassed. "Sorry, sweetheart, I still have important things to do when I get off the plane." The flight attendant continued to take the lead. "Can I exchange phone numbers with you? Or you can exchange INS or Twitter." Lukas had just been reincarnated a few days ago, so he didn't have any accounts or a phone and online social media, so he had to apologize. "I'm so sorry, I don't have." Even so, the flight attendant still had a good character. After getting off the plane, it was already past 9 o'clock in the evening. Lukas had watched Ant-Man 1 and Ant-Man 2 and knew that Scott's daughter Cassie should be living alone in her family house in the San Francisco Bay Area. Looking for the location, after asking the people there, he quickly learned where Cassie lived. It seems that it was still a few good people. At least it was more comfortable to ask the local people. There were several living people nearby. They all know each other very well. Lukas spent some money and lived nearby. He became neighbors with Cassie. He wanted to get close to Cassie by becoming her neighbor, but he didn't expect to see Cassie going out for 2 days. This confused Lukas, and should Cassie go out to eat even if she doesn't go to school? According to Cassie's neighbor, the neighbor said that all of Cassie's family were dead including her father Scott Lang and her mother. On the 3rd night, Lukas couldn't wait anymore. He took a guitar, went to Cassie's house, stood at the door, and started playing the guitar. He was talented in his previous life, so he could play and sing songs. After thinking about it, Lukas chose a 2003 English song, "Dance with My Father" by Luther Vandross, written in memory of his dead father. Kathy and Scott, as father and daughter, they were very close and deeply kind to each other. Now, she thinks Scott is dead, and she is missing Scott very much. Hearing this song, it was impossible not to be affected. You know, when Lukas heard this song in his previous life, even his father was still alive, he cried after listening to it. Sitting at the door of Cassie's house and singing like Martin Dean, Lukas laughed at himself. Who would think that the famous Thanos would come to someone's door to play and sing at night? Not even the god of death, but just a 16-year-old normal girl. Some people may think that Thanos should do earth-breaking things, but Lukas thinks staying quiet is the best thing he does now. Only smart people show what they have in their time of need, and there is no need to tell the world that Thanos is alive. At least not now, and I am weak. Like Thanos, after snapping his fingers, he didn't enjoy the situation of the dominance of the universe. Instead, he became a farmer, boiled water, and picked fruits every day. Taking a deep breath, Lukas began to play and sing. Back to childhood, before my life was far from innocence, my father lifted me high. Let me know that my father deeply loves me. If I have another chance, walk with my father again, dance with my father. Lukas's singing skills in his previous life were very good, linked with Thanos' low and rough voice in this life. As soon as he opened his mouth and started singing, Lukas was moved by himself, and the more he sang, the more he devoted himself. Just after singing the first section of the song, the house door was opened, and under the moonlight, a thin young girl appeared in front of Lukas. She was Cassie. Lukas had watched Avengers 4 before he was reincarnated, so he easily recognized that the girl in front of him was the daughter of Ant-Man, Cassie Language. Lukas can be told that Cassie is one of the main reasons for the appearance of Avengers 4. In Avengers 4, the Black Widow Natasha and the Scarlet Witch are already a little old. Unlike Cassie, she was only 16 years old, and she has a beautiful young look. She was more attractive to Lukas. Lukas, in his previous life, was only 18 years old, similar to Cassie's age. Cassie was wearing a pink suspender dress, standing at the door of the house. Lukas was surprised for a moment and taken by that incredible beauty. Lukas knows that the actress who plays Cassie is called Emma Foreman. In fact, in Ant-Man 1 and Ant-Man 2, the children's version of Cassie has already made Lukas enjoy, so cute. She also gave Lukas the desire to have a daughter. Lukas didn't stop but pretended to ignore Cassie and continued to play and sing. Father would leave $1 next to my bed but never thought that his father would leave me. If I could steal the last glimpse, the last dance, I would choose a song without ending. Listening to this, Cassie burst into tears, holding her legs with her hands, sitting on the ground, and crying. Lukas knew that he had touched her with his singing, and then he was able to get her attention. After singing a song, Lukas stepped forward and handed Cassie a tissue. Cassie wiped her tears with a tissue, then Lukas stood up. Cassie asked, "Did you lose your father in that disaster?" Lukas couldn't do anything except he took a few more looks at Cassie's beautiful face and said, "Not only father, mother, and younger brother, all disappeared." After Cassie heard these words, she said, "I'm just like you. My father, mother, all disappeared. You sing good. This song reminds me of my father. I do not know your name." "My name is Cassie Language." "My name is Lukas Carter." Lukas stretched out his hand and shook Cassie's hand. As soon as he touched Cassie's right hand, Lukas's heart beat fastly. Talking about it, Lukas had never been that excited about having a relationship with the Black Widow Natasha in the past 2 days. To the young Lukas, the Black Widow is an older woman after all, and Lukas, in his previous life, has never been in love. Therefore, a young 16-year-old girl like Cassie is proper to Lukas more than a Black Widow. It is easy to attract her after all, both of us are almost the same age. I have to chase Cassie. Lukas secretly said that whether it is for being close to Scott or personal thoughts, he wants to have relationships with Cassie. But meanwhile, 4 or 5 young men aged 18 and 19 suddenly stepped in. The leader of these men was a guy called Cooper. Lukas knew that from the first look that Cooper was not a good person. With a toothpick in his mouth, he walked arrogantly to Cassie. Said, "Cassie, it's tough to see you out. Why did you cry? Did you think of your father again? Don't be sad. Even if your father was dead, you still have me. I will take care of you." Then, the young man Cooper tried to touch Cassie's hand. Cassie stepped back unconsciously. She was a little frightened, and she said, "Cooper, I told you I don't like you. Would you please not annoy me anymore? Enough with that." The young man Cooper smiled and said, "After Thanos snapped his fingers, more than half of the people of the world are women, and there are not enough men. I know I'm not good enough for you, but now it's not like before you didn't have who's better than me, miss. It's good for you to stay with me, ha ha ha." Hearing Cooper's words, Lukas suddenly realized. It turns out that there are many women on the earth nowadays, and the number of men is not enough for these women. No wonder that the flight attendant took action to ask Lukas for a drink and contact information on the plane. "Even if you were the only man left in the world, I won't choose you." Cassie looked at Cooper's eyes with an angry expression on her face. Lukas also immediately understood why Cassie had not gone out in the past 2 days, because she was afraid of being annoyed by this gangster. Just when Cooper wanted to touch Cassie's hand again, Lukas grabbed Cooper's hand. "Damn it, are you looking for death? Let go of me, it hurts." Cooper screamed in pain. Even if Lukas only had 10% of Thanos' strength, dealing with ordinary people would be as easy as drinking water. Seeing Cooper screaming in pain, his gang friends behind him immediately sprang up and prepared to do something to Lukas. Some of them had knives. Lukas didn't worry at all. He was grabbing Cooper in one hand, and lifted Cooper in the air, and then smashed him onto the 4 people. All of them fell to the ground in shame. The power of Thanos is too strong. Lifting an adult with one hand is as easy as lifting a cup, and I did this easily with less than 10% of Thanos' combat power. I want to know how powerful Thanos is. Cassie didn't know that Lukas was reincarnated as Thanos. She was apprehensive about Lukas's safety, and she didn't want a stranger to be involved because of her problems. She apologized to Lukas for involving him in her troubles. Lukas smiled and said, "For me, there is nothing in the world that can be called trouble." "Just kidding, trouble is a term for ordinary people." At this time, the young man Cooper slowly got up from the ground, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, then he took out a pistol from his pocket and screamed, "Noisy boy, you are in big trouble." Cooper aimed his gun at Lukas, and he was about to shoot. "No!" Cassie screamed in hysteria, knowing that Cooper would dare to shoot because the world now was completely different from the world 5 years ago. The number of people has been reduced by half, and the strength of the police has been reduced, but the number of criminals has been increasing year by year, and they have become more violent. Lukas didn't panic, and he ran so fast they thought he used teleportation in front of Cooper from a place 2 meters away, immediately took the pistol back, and knocked him on the ground. Cassie and Cooper's friends were all shocked, but Lukas was so fast. As the supervillain, Thanos has more than strength, and speed, and quick reaction ability. How could you fight 4 or 5 flying heroes without losing too much power? In front of these young people, Lukas broke the pistol abruptly and then said to them, "Get away, don't annoy Cassie anymore. If I see you again, your will end, just like this pistol." After speaking, Lukas threw the broken pistol directly on their faces. Lukas's oppressive power made these young men shake with terror, and they already knew very well that they were not Lukas's opponents. Cooper didn't give up, but his face shone unwillingness because he wanted Cassie too much, and as far as he knew, Cassie hadn't talked about a boyfriend. Who wouldn't want to have a gorgeous girlfriend like Cassie? The person that will have her is the luckiest man. While leaving, he yelled at Lukas angrily, "Don't think that even if you were strong, you could not stay in the Bay Area now. The Bay Area has a boss. Unfortunately, you provoked the boss of the Bay Area. by beating his men. Let's go. Lukas looked at a few people, confused from their attitude, and couldn't stop laughing. The coward is a coward. If he can't do it by himself, he will use other people's names to scare people. He is facing Thanos, not to mention the boss of the Bay Area, and even if he is the boss of the Earth, he has no chance, okay? After the little guys left, Cassie specially invited Lukas to drink tea at her house to appreciate Lukas's help. Lukas was a little grateful to these guys. At least they let Lukas perform heroically. This kind of plot, no matter how old-fashioned girls will be, fell to it. Entering Cassie's house, it is hard to believe that such a big house, but there are so few things in it. Now Cassie lives alone, and the furniture in the home can feel a little abandoned. Are you from around? I guess that you love tea. Let me make a cup of tea for you. Although Cassie is only 16 years old, she has been living alone for many years and has become very independent. Okay, thank you. Lukas looked at Cassie, who was a little thin, and she looked very sad. At this time, the system suddenly made a sound. The target character Cassie Lang is detected. Identity: a member of the Junior Avengers, nicknamed Ant Girl. Character level, level B. If the host gets Cassie's likes, he will get 3,000 points. Lukas was a little surprised. Cassie turned out to be a member of the Junior Avengers. Is it now, or is it something that will happen in the future? It seems that this little girl is not as weak as she thinks. Cassie, the little host, made good tea and brought it to Lukas with a grateful expression, and she said, "Lukas, thank you for today, but since you are not from San Francisco, I advise you to leave here." Cooper didn't speak those words anywhere. He is following a mighty boss, and he's not an ordinary person. Oh. Not an ordinary person, what kind of person is he? Alien. Mutant. Is there a mutant in this world? Lukas was a little curious. He traveled to the MCU movie universe, and the mutants never joined here cause of copyright issues. As a character in the MCU world, Cassie moved her head in confusion when she heard the word mutant. I have never heard of mutants, but we have alien races here. Are we talking about the race of people? Mutants and alien races are certainly not the same kinds of people. Mutants result from an instance of mutation, and only those born with the X gene are considered mutants. As for the Inhumans, the English name is inhuman. They have initially been ordinary human beings, but because of the transformation of the Kerrigan crystal, they got many superpowers. It turns out that there is an alien. Lukas moaned slightly and asked, "Is the Bay Area boss that Cooper said is an alien?" Kathy moved her head. "I don't know, I haven't seen him in person. Sometimes I see on television Inhumans like Daisy John News, but now, they are not broadcast TV content, and many places are lawless, just like today." Daisy John News, I don't know if she disappeared. Lukas was familiar with this famous woman, formerly known as Shock Girl. Oh, let's watch TV for a while. Cassie turned on the TV and then sat on the sofa with Lukas. Who would know that just after sitting down, the host on TV said something embarrassing for the two of them. The host said, "Now there are half of the people on the earth, and most of what we have lost are fertile people. Therefore, to young people nowadays, as long as you are over 14 years old, start falling in love if you reach the age of 16. Listen to me, hurry up and give birth to a baby with your boyfriend. This is an extraordinary time. Governments all over the world have political issues. I have to admit that there is a shortage of labor in many industries." Cassie blushed after hearing this. The media and the government are now guiding the current little girls to fall in love early and have children before. To increase the population of a country like China, it's okay. It's less than half and 600 million. The US has a population of over 100 million. The Vatican has 40 people now. Cassie turned off the TV with the remote control and put her hands on the red dress of her legs. It's so annoying. I'm an old single woman. I haven't fallen in love so far. Will the government arrest me and put me in jail? What? A 16-year-old single woman. Lukas wondered if there was a problem with his ears. This world is gone crazy. At the age of 16, she will become a single woman without falling in love. Isn't the 30-year-old who is still single has a chance? Lukas carefully moved her hand to Cassie's leg, and held her hand, and said, "Cassie, this is an extraordinary time. There is just half of the population in the world now. There is a critical need to increase the birth rate. I don't think you can be selfish anymore. For the sake of humanity, fall in love with me, for the future of humanity." Lukas never thought he would use such a just cause to get a girl. Cassie was holding her hand. Lukas turned his head to Cassie's side and was about to kiss her. The two were getting closer and closer, but when they were about to kiss, Cassie suddenly let go of Lukas's hand with a look. Flicking her hair shyly, "It's very late." Sure enough, girls who have never been in love are still shy. After all, she has only met Lukas for less than half an hour, so kissing her. It was a little bit faster. Lukas was not in a hurry. After all, Scott couldn't come back for a while, and he had some time. After that, Lukas and Kathy made an appointment to go to the foreign cinema the next day. Early the following day, Lukas took a large bouquet of roses and waited at Cassie's door. Cassie also gave great importance to today's date. She wore a Chanel red dress. Luxury goods are luxury items. Even though the people on the planet are reduced by half, the price is still so high. Cassie bought it after saving money for a long time. Today is the first time she wears it. The two drove Cassie's father's car to the foreign cinema. They parked the car and walked for a while. Then they watched a movie while eating, and they played for a whole day and didn't return until 10 in the evening. However, unexpectedly, someone had been waiting at Cassie's door for a long time. Lukas and Cassie got out of the car, and they were holding hands, talking, and walking. When they suddenly saw Cooper and his little friends from yesterday, they appeared again. "Oh. It looks like you had a good day, Cassie. Even if there are half fewer men on the earth, you won't be reduced to a fool ugly man." Cooper was arrogant as if yesterday had never happened. Lukas laughed. He didn't expect that this guy would dare to come again after what happened. Lukas said, "Boy, did you forget what I did yesterday?" Cooper took out a pistol that was broken in half recently. This was the pistol that Lukas broke yesterday. He said, "Of course I remember, you said that if we come to Cassie again, you will beat us. This pistol is the same one. Kill us if you want, but our boss said, you are not even enough to look at it." Boss. Lukas learned from Cassie that Cooper's boss does not seem to be an ordinary person. "I looked around again and found a brand new Mercedes-Benz car parked on the side of the road. At this time, the window of the back seat of the car started to drop slowly. A man was sitting in the back seat. It was night, and I couldn't see his face. Boss. It's time to let this fool see your power." Cooper smiled victoriously. Suddenly, he took out an intact pistol, not to shoot Lukas with it, but to throw the gun in the air. "What is this?" Lukas was surprised. The pistol was not thrown into the Mercedes-Benz car but straight up and down. In other words, Cooper was not going to hand the gun to the man in the back seat of the Mercedes-Benz. He seemed to be doing it. At this time, the white man in the back seat played a game with his mobile phone. He did not look at the flying pistol in the air at all. He shot from his hand, and a strong shining light burst out of his hand and shot directly on the gun. This pistol immediately turned into powder. Oh my God! Cassie was panicked when she saw it. Just now, strong light followed by an electric sound. She heard the sound of the electric. This person can control the electricity. It's amazing. Lukas also realized that a person couldn't generate electricity out of thin air. That is to say, the electric charge exists in the human body, and every cell in his body carries a different electric charge. Plus, with the light just now, Lukas had seen the face of that man before. This person, I know him. He's Lincoln. This man is called Lincoln Campbell, an inhuman agent of SHIELD. And was the ex-boyfriend of shock girl Daisy John. Agents of SHIELD. Characters appeared in this Marvel world. Lukas was not surprised because this drama, including Agent Katie, developed closely to the timeline of the MCU, and it also includes the actors such as Nick Fury, Phil Coulson, Jarvis, and the actors in the MCU is the same. Lukas was surprised. Isn't Lincoln dead? In the finale of the third season of Agents of SHIELD, Lincoln and the founder of Hydra, the Hive, flew into space and blew themselves together. Could it be that they didn't die in space? Lukas was curious. Lincoln, who was sitting in the back seat of the Mercedes-Benz, slowly said, "Was your name, Lukas? I heard that you are powerful. Now kneel and worship me as the boss. You will join me and be my assistants. Kneel. Ha ha ha, don't you dare to be arrogant anymore. The United States is not your place." Lukas quietly walked to the front of the Mercedes-Benz and asked, "If I say no?" Lincoln looked into Lukas's eyes and said threateningly, "Death." The moment Lincoln said the word death, Lukas grabbed the door handle of the back seat. He pulled it off, then lifted the door high above his head and crashed the car heavily. The whole car collapsed immediately, the tires burst, Lincoln fell from the vehicle due to an unstable gravity and fell in front of Lukas. "Did you drop something?" Lukas looked down at Lincoln and said, "Who is kneeling now?" Lincoln raised his head with an angry face and said, "You are looking for death." As soon as he was about to raise his hand to attack Lukas, Lincoln was attacked first. Lukas punched Lincoln in the face. Lukas dropped the Bay Area boss to the ground. "Boss!" Cooper and the others were all panicked. In their mind, even if Lincoln fought against the Avengers, he should have done an excellent job. Lincoln actually underestimated his opponent, thinking that he was an ordinary person. He didn't expect that Lukas would beat him, and his face was bruised. And at this time, Lincoln was slowly retreating and took a distance from Lukas and said, "Very well, you succeeded angering me. Go to hell, Lukas." Lincoln. He took out his hands and attacked Lukas with an electric current. Zzzz. He hit Lukas with a strong and dazzling electric current, and Lukas resisted it with his arm. He was very weak in the face of the electric current attack, and he couldn't hold it back. However, in the eyes of Lincoln and others, Lukas could resist the electric current with his arm without any injuries. The attack was already very powerful. He can face the current attack of the boss. Is this guy an alien? Cooper looked horrified because if he were an ordinary person, he would definitely not be able to resist such a powerful attack. Damn, why is his body so strong? How he can resist my attack? Is he also an alien? Lincoln was also shocked by Lukas's resistance and continued to increase the power of the current. Damn. Although Lukas could use his arms to hold Lincoln's attack, his current physical condition was limited to defense. He was walking forward to kill Lincoln while resisting the electric attack, but Lukas could hardly move. Lincoln's attack was very powerful. Cooper and the others also discovered that Lincoln and Lukas, that one of them is good at long-range attacks and the other is good at the close fight. As long as the two keep the distance, Lincoln will not let Lukas get close, then Lukas can't do anything to Lincoln. The boss is powerful. Lukas can't get close to him, and the boss continues to attack him. Cooper and the others cheered for the boss, but he didn't dare to join in the fight. Who the hell are you? Lincoln attacked and asked Lukas. While resisting, Lukas replied, I am not a man. I am a god. I want to ask you, are you Lincoln or the Hive? Lincoln and the Hive flew into space together. Since Lincoln has survived, the Hive is probably not dead too, and Hive is good at taking other people's bodies, although he said that he only could take the body of ordinary people, not aliens, but as the last choice, no one knows what he will do to survive. Hearing Lukas's words, Lincoln stopped attacking. Do you know who am I? And how do you know so much about me? Lukas also lowered his arm. Now his left arm is continually shining with lightning. Fortunately, Thanos is also with a specific self-healing ability, is slowly killing these pains. Still, Thanos' self-healing ability does not affect the injuries that he suffered by destroying gems. Lukas, as far as I know, Lincoln is a good guy, and he doesn't do bad things like as the boss of the Bay Area does. Why did you do these bad things when the Earth was in a bad situation? Lincoln yelled loudly, are you telling me what to do? You have to beat me first. Repeat it if you dare. After that, Lincoln attacked Lukas with his electric current ability. Lincoln electric current attack, his power was unlimited. Lukas had to use his arm to resist. Lincoln saw that Lukas could only defend and could not attack. He couldn't stop laughing, ha ha ha, how about it? Now you know how great I am. Can you take a step forward and hit me? Can you even move? In the past few minutes of angry, Lukas was trying to resist back the current attacks, trying to fight back, no matter what happens. Damn, if I can recover some of Thanos' strength, I can stop his current attack. Lukas was a little bit upset. The strength of this alien race should not be underestimated, and they can also destroy the Earth. Stop it. Don't fight. Cassie yelled when she saw this. Lincoln was also tired and stopped attacking temporarily and said, how about? I don't care. Lukas held his fists and wanted to beat Lincoln strongly, but he knew that Lincoln would immediately continue to attack once he took a step. At that time, Lukas couldn't get close to him under the attack of electric current. As long as I recover, even with a little strength, I can defeat Lincoln. Lukas suddenly thought that he could get 3,000 points for kissing Cassie. 3,000 points are enough to buy some recovery medicine from the system. Lukas, are you okay? I'm sorry, it's all my fault, I caused this to you. Cassie put her hands on Lukas's left arm resisting Lincoln's attack, and Cassie looked very upset and guilty. Lukas grabbed Cassie's hands and said, do you want to help me? Cassie nodded, what can I do for you? Lukas said, kiss me. Cassie was stunned for a moment, and she thought she heard it wrong. Maybe he wanted me to give him strength. Cassie bit her lips and hesitated for a moment, and then take action to kiss Lukas. Cassie is one of Marvel's world beauties. Just like this simple, she was kissing Lukas. Cooper and the others were stunned. Hey, what are you two doing? Don't make love during a fight. You better focus on fighting. Cooper has liked Cassie for a long time and has always wanted to kiss her. Now he sees a girl he likes and another man kissing him, and he was naturally furious. When Lincoln saw them kissing, he laughed and said, "What a brave man, I started liking you. Young boy, in terms of feelings, we are the same. I treat my queen like you do to this young girl in front of me, no matter what happens, she will remain the only one in my heart now and ever, even if the whole universe were against me, I will never give up on her." Queen. Is he talking about Daisy John? However, when the two were kissing, they didn't realize that Lincoln was thinking about Daisy. Lukas didn't pay attention to him either and focused on feeling Cassie's soft lips and capturing the beautiful moments. A girl would be a girl, even if it were just a tiny touch. The beauty and wonderfulness of young girls are better than those experienced older women who have many skills to please men because her every move is more natural and more heartfelt. System, congratulations to the host for getting Cassie's likes. You got 3,000 points. Would you like to obtain the good items now? Kissing does not necessarily mean likes, but after 2 days of getting along with each other, Cassie already had a good impression of Lukas. This kiss just proved the goodwill in love. At this time, Cassie stopped kissing him shyly. Lukas touched the hot ears under her soft long hair and looked at her with a smile, and then asked the system in his mind, "Is there any possible powerful medicine to recover my power?" System, it is recommended that the host should take the healing green pill of breaking through the heavens, which can restore the host's strength to the peak state. The price, 3,000 points. Oh. I didn't expect that the recovery pills in fantasy novels have the same effects on the heroes of the Marvel world, and the system is mighty and provides strong items. Lukas did not hesitate and immediately used 3,000 points to purchase a healing green pill. It was late at night, and no one noticed that there was a pill in Lukas's hand. Lukas also quietly put the pill in his mouth quickly and swallowed it. System, testing the recovery of the host's body. The host's body is recovering, 10%, 11%, 12%. The healing green pill effect is used up, and the host's body has recovered to 100%. It has now 20% of Thanos' strength. The pill has increased 10% in combat power. A healing green pill could only restore his power one time, but this is also very good. With Thanos' 20% strength, it's more than enough to deal with Lincoln. After seeing that Lukas and Cassie stopped kissing, Lincoln laughed and joked, "Hercules, why don't you continue kissing? Are you going to continue fighting?" "Ha ha ha, boss, he can't fight with you anymore. How can he dare to do something like that to you again?" Cooper and his little friends beside him catered to Lincoln. Lukas took a step forward and said, "The fun is over, Lincoln. I wasn't serious just now. But my girlfriend likes to watch you getting beaten, so I didn't fight back. But it is very boring, so that I will be serious now." "What? What the hell are you saying?" Lincoln said, "If that's the case, then I will make you suffer a little bit more." Zzzzzzzzzzzzzzzzzzz. Lincoln fought against Lukas with both hands and attacked him with his electrical current ability, and Lukas raised his left arm again to resist. A smile appeared on Lincoln's face, thinking that the plot would be the same as before, but who would have expected that Lukas ran towards him while resisting the attack? "What?" Lincoln was forced back. Until now, Lukas could only defend under his attack. This time, how could he move so fast? He even couldn't move a step. In a panic, Lincoln attacked while retreating. After a few moves, Lukas quickly got close and came to Lincoln. However, Lincoln's speed was not as fast as Lukas's. What happened? How he got that close to the boss? Cooper and the others panicked. They all could see that the two were like a mage and a warrior. If Lukas got close to him, then Lincoln would have no chance of winning. Sure enough, as soon as Lukas caught Lincoln, he became helpless. Lukas grabbed Lincoln from his leg, just like when Hulk almost smashed Loki in the New York battle. With a bang-bang sound, Lukas started smacking Lincoln on the ground from right to left again and again. Every time the body hits the ground, other people's hearts almost jumped out of their chest. Stop. I give up. I give up. I accept you as the new boss. Lincoln puked blood and kept begging for mercy. Lincoln asked for mercy. Cooper other the people quickly knelt. Bay Area boss, please forgive us, you got our loyalty. In future we will be honest with you, and we will do anything for you. Young man Cooper kneeling, said, whatever you want, and as far as you go, we will follow you, as the new boss of the Bay Area universe. Lukas replied angrily said, I do not want to be your boss. Yes, yes as you want. Cooper quickly fled away in fear. Cassie also quickly stepped forward, her voice shaking, Lukas, are you going to kill him? Cassie originally thought that Lukas was an ordinary boy of her age. Still, when she saw Lukas throwing Lincoln on the ground just now, she suddenly realized that Lukas was not an ordinary person at all, and she also saw the brutal side of Lukas. When Lukas was reincarnated as Thanos, he still had a bit of Thanos emotion, especially when he was fighting. He certainly felt that he could not control himself. Now, Lukas is very calm. Fool, how could I kill you? I'm a good person. After that, Lukas took the injured Lincoln to the house and made him a cup of hot coffee because, in his impression, Lincoln is a nice person, so he wants to know what happened to him. Lukas asked, did you go to space with the hive, and didn't the spaceship explode? How did you survive? Where is the hive? Is he alive? Lincoln moved his head, I do not know, I really do not know what happened in space, and when I woke up, the people have already returned to Earth. The hive is dead or alive, I do not know. Lukas said you Lincoln used to be a good person. You even fought with us when we needed you. Tell me what happened to you. Lukas continued to ask, then why do you want to be the boss of the Bay Area? And do bad things? And join with a bunch of little rats? Lincoln touched his head and frowned, looking very lost. I don't know. My girlfriend asked me to do this. I only do what my girlfriend tells me. Girlfriend? Who is your girlfriend? Lukas became more and more confused, and so did Lincoln. Even if your girlfriend Daisy Johnson was beautiful and powerful, how can you follow your girlfriend like a baby? What's her name? Lukas asked. Lincoln continued to think hard, she's called. Damn, I don't know her name. She never said it. Never said it. A girlfriend who had never told Lincoln's name. Was Lincoln willing to do anything for her? Lukas believes that there must be something weird. Quickly tell me where your girlfriend is now. Half an hour later, Lukas arrived in a luxurious villa also located in the Bay Area. This villa is much larger than Cass's house. You can feel the magnificent design, and it's like a palace, which is unique compared to other French-style villas. Using the given key by Lincoln, Lukas quietly opened the door and walked in. After pushing the door in, he saw that the decoration inside was even more golden, with gorgeous lamps and furnishings everywhere, and the style was like an ancient British palace. Who is this woman, and how can she afford to live here? The decorates of this villa like a palace, she treats herself as a queen. The lights are turned on, and the lights in all the rooms on the upper and lower floors are all turned on, but there is nobody here. Lukas walked upstairs softly, and when he approached the bedroom, he finally heard some sounds, the sound of a woman humming. I want to see, and I wonder how a woman could control a man like Lincoln. I want to see how beautiful you are. Lukas couldn't wait and immediately opened the door. As soon as he opened the door, Lukas was immediately stunned by sight in front of him. He saw a huge wooden barrel in the bedroom, and inside the barrel, there was a woman with a perfect back inside. What's this situation? Lukas didn't expect that someone would take a bath with petals in a wooden barrel these days. However, seeing this woman, Lukas didn't have anything to say. Maybe he wanted to know what her identity was. I don't know who this woman is, or is she a beautiful woman? However, it seems that there are not so many beautiful women in this Marvel world, right? I have faced almost all of them. But this one looks more beautiful. Lukas knew that this beauty might have a good personality, and he was even more curious about how this woman looks like. However, he did not have much expectation. After all, the Black Widow in the Marvel world had been F***D by him, and Cassie's first kiss was also taken away. The Scarlet Witch is naturally a beautiful woman, but she has not been reincarnated yet, so it is impossible to appear now. Are you back? Lincoln's girlfriend seemed to hear the door knock and did not turn around but said lightly, "Came and rubbed my shoulders." He. Lukas laughed loudly. Does Thanos rub your shoulders for you? Sweetheart, you can't afford it. Compared to your beautiful soft shoulders, I want to rub your other parts more, Lukas said bravely. Ha ha. Lukas smiled. It's natural for me to be such a big Thanos, with a heavier footstep. Hearing the stranger's voice, the beauty was surprised and quickly turned around, and covered her sensitive parts with her hands, and asked in surprise, "Who are you?" Lukas was stunned when he saw the beauty of her face. Stunning. No words can describe it. In terms of appearance and sexiness alone, I am afraid that even Black Widow, Scarlet Witch, and Cassie are inferior. Of course, the reason why Lukas was stunned was not that she was so beautiful, but because Lukas knew this woman. She is from the fairy castle, the Angel of Asgard, Lorelei. Lorelei was a character who appeared in the 15th episode of the first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She comes from Asgard, where Thor and Loki are. She has a cosmic beauty and has caused chaos in many kingdoms. She can fascinate people. As long as she puts her hand on a man, she can make him do anything for her. A few years ago, Lady Sif of Asgard, by order of the fake King Loki, who was pretending to be Odin, came to Earth to take Lorelei away, and then he locked her in Asgard. After that, after experiencing the twilight of the gods and the Thanos snapping his fingers, he did not expect Lorelei to be alive and continue to harm people on the Earth. Target: Lorelei is detected. Identity: Asgard Angel. Character level: A+. If Lorelei likes the host, he will get 9,000 points. Lukas was slightly surprised. The one from the Immortal Palace was different. She was worth 9,000 points. For Lukas, 9,000 points are too much, and he can buy 3 healing green pills that can restore 30% of Thanos' body's combat power. It's just that Asgardians have a lifespan of 5,000 years. Lorelai doesn't know how many years she has lived in this universe, how many men she's seen, and she had a relationship with Thor, maybe with Loki or even King Odin. They may all had an affair with her. How could such a woman who has been experienced and read countless men easily fall in love with me? And I am just a young man with weak strength. Just as Lukas was sad, a charming smile appeared on Lorelai's face, and then she walked out of the wooden barrel in front of Lukas, without any clothing to block her. Lukas saw such a beautiful scene, but it wasn't just as simple as swallowing his saliva. He was very excited, and it seemed like an explosion somewhere. This is a cosmic beauty. Lorelai was not shy at all. She confidently walks towards Lukas step by step on her beautiful foot. She also has this incredible confidence. She is so good in the figure, and there is no place to be faulty, especially that proud part kept Lukas's eyes intently. Lorelai walked up to Lukas, and put her hands on Lukas's shoulders, and said with a charming smile, "Handsome man, you just said that you don't want to rub my shoulders. Then what part do you want to rub?" Lorelai said that her skill is to charm people once they come into contact with her. In other words, her ability works when someone desires her body. Lukas also knew that Lorelai wanted to control him. He didn't escape from her because Thanos' mental power was mighty, and it was not a little that anyone could control it. "Tell me, how did you get in? Where did Lincoln go?" Lorelai thought she had succeeded in controlling him, so he asked Lukas. Lukas didn't reply and continued to look intently. Lorelai was stunned. "I can't control you. Who are you? This is not your true face." Lorelai realized that the man in front of her is not an ordinary earthling. Lukas smiled and said, "Do you want to see my true face? I'm afraid you will be scared when you see it." Lorelai laughed softly. "I have lived for hundreds of years, and I haven't found anything that scared me because any man will surrender to my beauty." "Will any man surrender to you? Don't know Thanos." "Ha ha." Lukas smiled and then revealed his original form, the body of Thanos. "Thanos, the Lord of the Universe." Lorelai showed a very shocked expression after seeing it. It is not easy to surprise this angel who has lived for hundreds of years. Lorelai knelt in front of Lukas. "Please let me be your woman. I will follow you to the death." Lukas found out that Lorelai's current position was very charming, but suddenly, the system's voice was disrupted. His evil thoughts. "System, congratulations to the host for getting Lorelai's likes. You got 9,000 points. Would you like to redeem to the healing green pills now?" "I'll take them." Lukas was surprised. He just revealed the original form of Thanos and won Lorelai. Like it. Could it be that this fairy palace angel had a crush on Thanos for a long time? If you think about it correctly, it makes sense. Thanos is famous, and Lorelai has always wanted to be a woman who is a powerful man like a king. In the entire universe, who else can compare to Thanos? Lukas was happy. "Give me 3 healing green pills immediately." Lukas received 3 healing green pills and swallowed them all. System, the host's body is recovering, 20%, 30%, 40, 50%. After the healing green pill effect is used, the host's body is recovering up to 50% of Thanos' combat power. Ah! Lukas couldn't stop screaming, and he had recovered 50% of the peak Thanos power. Lukas feels much stronger than before. Oh my god, what a power! Lorelai, who was kneeling on the ground, looked at Lukas with respect. With 50% of Thanos' strength, as long as he doesn't meet Captain Marvel, he should be safe on Earth, and Lukas can no longer be afraid. The ability to regain strength so quickly is all thanks to this incredible beauty in front of me. Lukas helped Lorelei up and said with a smile, "You want to be my Thanos' woman?" Lorelei's eyes flashed with worship, looking up at Lukas, and said, "Well, I have always liked you. I heard your story a long time ago. You have gathered 6 gems and wipe out half of the universe, and you did it. You're the greatest." Lukas looked and stroked Lorelei cruelly and said, "Lorelei, if you want to be my woman, you have to do something for me. Please, Thanos, I will do anything for you." She gratefully offered to service Thanos. Lorelei looked sincerely when she said that. Speaking of the angel, Lorelei can control men and let them listen to her orders. This ability is an excellent use to Lukas. Because Lukas wanted to get into the Avengers camp and then follow them to join in the time-traveling plan, but Ant-Man's PYM particles are limited. It's only enough for 10 people, and if you count Lukas with them, they will be 11. Indeed, they would not leave the old comrades and take the new comrades like Lukas. Therefore, Lukas must remove one from these 10 people who traveled through time and space and then replace himself with one of them. Lukas remembered the plot of Avengers 4. These 10 people were Thor, Rocket Raccoon, Hulk, Captain America, Iron Man, Ant-Man, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Colonel Rodd, and Nebula. Among them, Thor knows Lorelei, and he knows Lorelei's ability. He will not be fooled and definitely cannot choose him. Black Widow and Nebula are women. Lorelei will not control them, neither can they be chosen. Rocket Little Raccoon is not even a human. The only people to choose from are Hulk, Captain America, Iron Man, Ant-Man, Hawkeye, and Colonel Rodd. Hulk, Captain America, and Iron Man have all played in great battles, and their self-control and are super intelligent. Lorelei's work will not be easy to succeed. Not to mention, these 3 people are essential for this plan. Not to mention Ant-Man. He is the one that provides the connection in and must be present. We left with 2 options, and the possibilities are only Hawkeye and Colonel Rodd. Hawkeye and Black Widow are going to the planet Vormil. If I replace Hawkeye with me, Natasha, and me, no matter who will sacrifice, we will not get the soul gem because Natasha and I are not beloved. The condition for obtaining soul gems is that a beloved person must be sacrificed. Among these 10 people, in addition to Hawkeye and Black Widow meeting this condition, Hulk and Black Widow may also meet this requirement, but if Hulk jumped off the cliff, he probably wouldn't fall to death, so Hulk is excluded. If you look at it this way, there is only one left. Lukas touched Lorelei's gentle face and smiled, and said, "I want you to find someone for me. He is called War Machine." Lorelei asked with a smile, "War Machine? I know who he is. What do you want me to do to him?" "Kill him." Lukas moved his head and said, "Let him never reach the Avengers. No matter what plans they have, we cannot let him join their plan no matter what happens." Lorelei agreed and smiled, "No problem, Lord Thanos, I guess you are planning out a great plan. I am fortunate to be able to play in this plan with you." Lorelei took action to lean on Lukas's body. Some afternoon a week later, Lukas and Cassie were playing in the house. Lukas pushed Cassie on the sofa, grabbed her 2 thin arms to prevent her from moving, and started kissing Cassie again and again. Yeah. Although Cassie pretended to be trickery, she enjoyed herself from inside every time she was kissed. After a few days, the two have ultimately become lovers, and both fell in love with each other. At this moment, Lukas suddenly heard someone knocking on the door, bang bang. The sound was loud as if they were FBI coming to catch a criminal. Who? Lukas frowned and even dared to interrupt the happy moments of Uncle Thanos, who is looking for a fight. So annoying. I'm going to see. Cassie got off the sofa, then tidied her clothes and hair messed up by Lukas, and then they went out. Bang bang bang. The people outside were still knocking at the door and yelling, "Cassie! Cassie!" Cassie opened the door and saw a man outside, and she was completely stunned. The man who came to see Cassie took a step back in confusion. The two looked at each other for a few seconds. The man outside asked hesitantly, "Are you Cassie?" Cassie burst into tears and jumped directly on the man and hugged him. "Dad, is that you?" "This man is Ant-Man Scott Lang, who just has come out of the quantum realm. 5 years ago, in the Battle of Avengers 3, Ant-Man was imprisoned and could not go to the war. When Thanos snapped his fingers, Scott had just got into the quantum realm to be in the subatomic world, to collect some unique energy. But who knows, as soon as he entered, Thanos snapped his fingers. Hank Pym and the first generation of wasps who were outside disappeared instantly, and there was no way to get him out. 5 years later, that is, just now, a mouse passed by the trigger device, so coincidentally, Scott came out of the quantum realm." Lorelai's eyes flashed with worship, looking up at Lukas, and said, "Well, I have always liked you. I heard your story a long time ago. You have gathered 6 gems and wipe out half of the universe, and you did it. You're the greatest." Lukas looked and stroked Lorelai cruelly and said, "Lorelai, if you want to be my woman, you have to do something for me. Please, Thanos, I will do anything for you." She gratefully offered to service Thanos. Lorelai looked sincerely when she said that. Speaking of the angel, Lorelai can control men and let them listen to her orders. This ability is an excellent use to Lukas. Because Lukas wanted to get into the Avengers camp and then follow them to join in the time-traveling plan, but Ant-Man's PYM particles are limited. It's only enough for 10 people, and if you count Lukas with them, they will be 11. Indeed, they would not leave the old comrades and take the new comrades like Lukas. Therefore, Lukas must remove one from these 10 people who traveled through time and space and then replace himself with one of them. Lukas remembered the plot of Avengers 4. These 10 people were Thor, Rocket Raccoon, Hulk, Captain America, Iron Man, Ant-Man, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Colonel Rodd, and Nebula. Among them, Thor knows Lorelai, and he knows Lorelai's ability. He will not be fooled and definitely cannot choose him. Black Widow and Nebula are women. Lorelai will not control them, neither can they be chosen. Rocket Little Raccoon is not even a human. The only people to choose from are Hulk, Captain America, Iron Man, Ant-Man, Hawkeye, and Colonel Rodd. Hulk, Captain America, and Iron Man have all played in great battles, and their self-control and are super intelligent. Lorelai's work will not be easy to succeed. Not to mention, these 3 people are essential for this plan. Not to mention Ant-Man. He is the one that provides the connection in and must be present. We left with 2 options, and the possibilities are only Hawkeye and Colonel Rodd. Hawkeye and Black Widow are going to the planet Vormil. If I replace Hawkeye with me, Natasha, and me, no matter who will sacrifice, we will not get the soul gem because Natasha and I are not beloved. The condition for obtaining soul gems is that a beloved person must be sacrificed. Among these 10 people, in addition to Hawkeye and Black Widow meeting this condition, Hulk and Black Widow may also meet this requirement, but if Hulk jumped off the cliff, he probably wouldn't fall to death, so Hulk is excluded. If you look at it this way, there is only one left. Lukas touched Lorelai's gentle face and smiled, and said, I want you to find someone for me. He is called War Machine. Lorelai asked with a smile, War Machine? I know who he is. What do you want me to do to him? Kill him. Lukas moved his head and said, let him never reach the Avengers. No matter what plans they have, we cannot let him join their plan no matter what happens. Lorelai agreed and smiled, no problem, Lord Thanos, I guess you are planning out a great plan. I am fortunate to be able to play in this plan with you. Lorelai took action to lean on Lukas's body. Some afternoon a week later, Lukas and Cassie were playing in the house. Lukas pushed Cassie on the sofa, grabbed her two thin arms to prevent her from moving, and started kissing Cassie again and again. Yeah. Although Cassie pretended to be trickery, she enjoyed herself from inside every time she was kissed. After a few days, the two have ultimately become lovers, and both fell in love with each other. At this moment, Lukas suddenly heard someone knocking on the door, bang bang. The sound was loud as if they were FBI coming to catch a criminal. Who? Lukas frowned and even dared to interrupt the happy moments of Uncle Thanos, who is looking for a fight. So annoying. I'm going to see. Cassie got off the sofa, then tidied her clothes and hair messed up by Lukas, and then they went out. Bang bang bang. The people outside were still knocking at the door and yelling, Cassie! Cassie! Cassie opened the door and saw a man outside, and she was completely stunned. The man who came to see Cassie took a step back in confusion. The two looked at each other for a few seconds. The man outside asked hesitantly, Are you Cassie? Cassie burst into tears and jumped directly on the man and hugged him. Dad, is that you? This man is Ant-Man Scott Lang, who just has come out of the quantum realm. 5 years ago, in the Battle of Avengers 3, Ant-Man was imprisoned and could not go to the war. When Thanos snapped his fingers, Scott had just got into the quantum realm to be in the subatomic world to collect some unique energy. But who knows, as soon as he entered, Thanos snapped his fingers, Hank Pym and the first generation of wasps who were outside disappeared instantly, and there was no way to get him out. 5 years later, that is, just now, a mouse passed by the trigger device, so coincidentally, Scott came out of the quantum realm. Lukas walked toward Scott and said, Mr. Ant-Man, the reason why I want to join your rescue plan is not to add chaos to you in the past, but I only want to help you. I am not an ordinary human being, and I am a mutant. Mutant? Scott was a little surprised by the situation, and his future son-in-law is not an ordinary person. Do you mean a human like Daisy John? Essentially, they were both with superpowers anyway. Lukas didn't want to explain the difference with Scott either. Then what is your superpower? Scott asked curiously. Lukas smiled slightly and immediately shapeshifters to Cassie's shape. Cassie, oh, my goodness. Scott got up from his chair quickly in surprise. How did you do it? He just came out of Cassie's room, after watching her fall asleep. Knowing that Cassie could not come out now, he did not know what to say. Cassie is in front of him was fake, but Scott couldn't tell what was fake no matter how he looked at it. Seeing Scott's stunning look, Lukas changed again and became Scott's look. Scott saw himself, smiled, and said, Oh my God, your ability is so amazing. So you can become anyone. Lukas changed back to his shape and said, Yes, I have a little bit of quantum realm research. I know that you plan to go back to the past and then get these 6 gems to revive half of the people who have disappeared. When you start collecting gems, you will face a lot of obstacles. I think my ability to transform into anyone is good for you. It will be beneficial. Scott thought for a while. If he wanted to take a gem from a Hydra, then Lukas only needed to transform into the head of a Hydra. There was no need to fight, and he could easily take the gems. I was wrong. This is simply a magical skill, and none of the current members of the Avengers possess this ability. Scott said, "All right then, you will go to the Avengers Tower with me, but my daughter loves you so much, knowing that you are leaving too, she will be very sad." Honestly, in the past few days and after spending time with Cassie day and night, Lukas also fell in love with Cassie, unwilling to separate from her, said, "Wake her up, let's go to New York, I guess we will gather all the people. It takes a while to build the machine. During this period, we can first put Cassie in a safe place, and when we start planning, we just will not let her join." Lukas wanted Cassie to join them in their journey, and he wanted to be able to stay with Cassie and love her as much as he could. On the other hand, he tried to introduce Cassie to some people that he knew. A people like Hawkeye's daughter and Iron Man's daughter may inherit the power of their fathers and become the second generation of Hawkeye and the second generation of Iron Man. They are also members of the Junior Avengers in the future. Cassie will also become a hero in the future and join the Junior Avengers. Scott Lang was delighted with Lukas's proposal. So, early the following day, the three happily left San Francisco and flew to NYC. To Avengers Tower. "Why are you drinking alone?" Steve Rogers' Captain America suddenly appeared behind Natasha. 5 years later, Steve Rogers has shaved off his beard and still looks so young, like a young man in his 20s. Natasha is an agent who the Red House has trained, and she was also ancient. She held a wine glass and looked at Steve with a smile. "What else can I do if I don't drink? I feel that my life is boring now. There is no goal, no direction." Steve Rogers put his hands around Natasha and sighed, "I am like you. If I could do something about for the regrets of the past, I would be a little bit relieved." Just as the two of them were chatting, the two suddenly saw two men appearing in the camera video. One of them was a man in his 30s, and the other one was a young man. These two people were Ant-Man Scott Lang and Lukas, who were standing outside the Avengers building. Scott kept waving at the camera and then shouted, "Hey! I'm Ant-Man. We met at the airport. I'm that big guy." Ant-Man did not join the Battle of Wakanda, and because of that, Natasha and Steve weren't very familiar with Scott's face, but if they talk about Ant-Man they were impressed. Back then, during the Civil War in the Avengers were divided into two teams. Iron Man's team and Captain America's team. Both sides got their heroes, and Sam found Ant-Man and belonged to the Captain America's team. Captain America remembered who Scott was because he was entirely like a fan when Scott met him for the first time, and Captain America didn't have a deep impression of his face. Soon, Steve let Ant-Man and Lukas in. Coming to the Avengers Tower again, Lukas felt confused, especially when he saw the Black Widow Natasha. He couldn't do anything but remember the many scenes of the two fighting on the floor the night they had reincarnated. "Steve, we meet again." Scott greeted the two very politely. "Hello, Natasha." "Hello, Scott. I am delighted to see you." Steve Rogers thought that Scott was dead. At this moment, Natasha looked up and down to Lukas suddenly and asked, "Who is this young boy?" "Ant-Man is a member of the Avengers." It is not surprising that they came to the tower, but Lukas, a young man, has never seen him before. And I don't know why Natasha felt very strange when she saw Lukas. But judging from her unique memory ability, She was sure that this wasn't the first time meeting Lukas. Scott smiled and introduced, "Oh, his name is Lukas, my daughter Cass's boyfriend and my future son-in-law." Steve and Natasha thought, why did Ant-Man pull his future son-in-law over? The Avengers building is not a place where anyone can come in. Natasha greeted the two of them to sit down and asked, "Scott, where have you been in the last 5 years? We sent someone to find you, but we didn't see you. I thought you disappeared because of Thanos." In the Avengers 4 movie, Scott came to the Avengers Tower and ate a few sandwiches. Now, it's the same. Before talking about essential things, he took a few bites and then said, "I entered the quantum realm and stayed there for 5 hours. But when I came out, 5 years have already passed. There is no timeline in the quantum realm. The entry and exit points of the quantum realm correspond to different times. In the quantum realm, not counting a timeline, the dimension of time has been extended." Steve and Natasha were silent and looked at each other, and they clearly didn't understand what he said. Steve said, "Can you make it simpler?" "Yes, I will explain it simply." Lukas saw that Scott loves to eat that sandwich. He spoke a bit hard, so he stood up and explained to Scott, straight. "To be clear, we have to travel through time through the quantum realm, and we need to make a device that allows ourselves in the quantum realm to reach a certain point in time in the past at the wanted time." After listening to Lucas's explanation, Steve asked Scott, "Do you mean that we have to use a time machine to travel through the past?" "No." Scott said the same answer as the movie Avengers 4 and then said, "It's a time machine." When he was watching a movie, Lucas remembered that Scott said these words, which caused a lot of laughter from the cinema audience. Ant-Man wanted to say no, but he couldn't explain it, so he could only say yes. Natasha asked, "Then who can make the device you are talking about?" Scott and Lucas said at the same time, "Tony Stark." Stark is the most crucial character of the Avengers 4. Without him, we can't travel through time and space only with Ant-Man's PIM particles. Natasha looked excited. After 5 years of shame, she will finally be able to restore their honor as a hero. She hurriedly said, "I will hold a holographic projection conference immediately and call everyone over." So, Lucas saw a very powerful technology. In front of them, several virtual characters appeared. They were Captain Marvel, Little Raccoon, and Nebula. "This video chat is awesome," Lucas quietly wondered. And he looked at Captain Marvel, and she looked charming with that short hair. Lucas believed that she was making contact with Natasha when she was in outer space. This Wi-Fi signal was excellent and so honest. Natasha said to several people, "Guys, I have heard the good news. We can travel through time and space through the quantum realm and go back to the past and gather gems, and then we can bring back half of the universe. When will you come back to the tower? I need you guys." Captain Marvel said, "You are too messy, but if there is hope, I agree with you to try it, but I am sorry, I can't return to the Earth now. Many planets need my protection." The Little Raccoon said, "Captain Marvel, since you left this ugly short hair, your arrogance has also become doubled. Isn't your hair cut off by someone else?" Captain Marvel gave the Little Raccoon a deadly look. He smiled and didn't care. Nebula said, "I will drive the spaceship to find you soon." However, the War Machine, Colonel Rod, gave an unexpected answer, "Sorry, friends, I will not join in this operation. I don't want to be involved anymore." At this moment, Lucas, who was standing by, smiled slightly. He knew that at this moment, Lorelei has arranged for Colonel Rod not to join. Captain America and Natasha were naturally shocked. Rhodes, what do you mean by this? Colonel Rod said, I quit. I quit the Avengers. Sorry, I don't want to experience failure again. I like how my life is now. And I cannot lose my wife now. Would you please respect my decision? In addition, I decided to hand over my suit of armor, and it will be sent to the Avengers Tower soon. All of them lowered their heads, and only the little raccoon was cruel. He said sarcastically, Rod, you're too scared. Why didn't I see that you are so soft before? You don't dare to fight because you have a wife. That's enough. Steve suddenly said, anyone have the right to leave, Rod? I respect your decision. Steve did not force Rod to join. After all, this is a very dangerous mission. At the end of the video call, Steve said, we have to find Tony, Thor, Hulk, and Hawkeye immediately, plus the three of us, Nebula and Raccoon. A total of 9 people joined in this time-space traveling plan. No, it's 10. Lukas, standing aside, said suddenly. Steve Rogers and Natasha looked at Lukas in surprise. Could it be that this little boy also wants to play in this excellent reincarnation plan? At this time, Scott Lang smiled and said, I forgot to tell you that he is a mutant. He can change his appearance at will and become the appearance of any person. As soon as Scott finished talking, Lukas immediately changed himself. Became the Hawkeye Barton. He knew that Barton is now in Tokyo to kill bad guys. Natasha is also apprehensive about him. Sure enough, when Natasha saw Lukas changed to Hawkeye, she was shocked, and there were tears shining with hope in the corners of her eyes. She began treating Lukas as a real Hawkeye. Steve also smiled and nodded, Lukas, your ability is beneficial to us, but I must remind you that this plan is very dangerous, and we cannot guarantee your safety. Lukas changed back to himself. I don't have anything to lose. If I can't bring back my family, then it's meaningless for me to live. Lukas covered himself as an ordinary person who got hurt by Thanos and won Avengers' trust. Next, let's start to gather the Avengers. What do you think? Who do we go to first? Steve asked. Lukas, who had successfully entered the Avengers team, expressed his opinion at this time. Natasha asked to find Barton. They have a good relationship. Natasha will definitely be able to convince him. Let's go to Dr. Banner, and then let Banner went to Thor because Thor had convinced Hulk before, and now Hulk is the only one who can convince Thor. Later, we will go to Tony Stark. Steve Rogers looked at Lukas with respect. Unexpectedly, this young man not only has exceptional ability but also has leadership skills. He is very right about this division of operation. It seems that you know a lot about our Avengers, even about Hulk and Hulk in planet Sakaar, T/N, Sakaar planet in Thor, Ragnarok movie. Steve smiled and patted Lukas on the shoulder. Lukas replied, your story has long been written as a biography, and you can search it on Google. Steve smiled and said, okay, then as Lukas said, Natasha, you go to Barton, we will set out to find Hulk now. When they found Hulk, he was outside the house. Eating in a restaurant. As a member of Avengers and hero, Hulk was very famous. Many little girls came to ask Hulk to take photos and signatures during the meal, and Hulk accepted them very happily. He is so kind because he is now Dr. Banner's consciousness in Hulk's body. After Infinity War, Banner and Hulk had serious exchanges, and Banner gave Hulk enough respect. Only then did the most vital brain and the most vital body power merge into one. Hulk was one of the key characters who wore infinite gloves and then reincarnated half of the universe in Avengers 4. Lukas must have a good relationship with him. At this time, Lukas suddenly asked the system, does the system gives points when men like the host? Or do you earn points only if a woman like you? System, this system does not separate between men and women, as long as the other party likes the host, and if you have enough affection for the host, you can get points. Lukas nodded. He can quickly get women's like by seducing them. For men, it's more challenging, and especially if those men were superheroes. Give them enough affection for a man. If it did not work, do something big, or help them to fulfill their wish. But whether it is a man or a woman, Lukas will get along with these Avengers in the future. He will act very well with them to get the points and then restore his Thanos strength to 100% combat power. After convincing Hulk, Hulk went to New Asgard, Oklahoma on Earth, to find Thor, while Lukas, Scott, and Steve went to Tony Stark's extraordinary home. Morgan, do you love me more or mother more? Outside a house near the sea, Tony Stark held a 4-year-old girl and sat in the garden playing with her. The little girl is sweet and cute, and she competes with Ant-Man's daughter Cassie when she was a child. And besides, the father and daughter stood a tall woman. It was Tony Stark's wife, Pepper. Pepper's personality has always been outstanding. Rarely, she is also in such fantastic shape after giving birth. She has recovered very well. Pepper looked at her husband and daughter and smiled happily. I am Morgan's mother. Of course, she loves me more. Tony Stark was very unhappy. I'm still Morgan's father, and in the past few years, I have stayed by your side and never left her. Pepper suddenly remembered the things Iron Man did 5 years ago that almost could end his life. Perhaps Tony is safe now, but is he happy? As Tony's wife, she knew Tony was not completely happy. He was still guilty and still missed those who passed away, especially Spider-Man. At this time, an Audi car drove slowly. Tony looked in surprise and saw a group of old friends walked out of the vehicle. Seeing the appearance of Steve Rogers, Tony Stark was stunned for a moment. He had no idea that Steve would come to him because the two had disagreements since the Civil War. 5 years ago, after Captain Marvel returned to Earth with Stark's spaceship, the weak Stark had a big fight with Steve. He blamed Steve and said that they should have stopped this from happening. It was Steve that prevented him from doing this. Stark discovered that in addition to Steve Rogers, he was accompanied by Ant-Man Scott and a strange young man he had never seen before. Knowing that Steve had nothing to do with that, Tony always blamed Steve for not stopping Thanos. Pepper was very happy to see Steve, and grabbed her daughter's hand, and walked forward to say hello. Steve, welcome. Hi, Pepper. Steve greeted Pepper with a smile. Then he leaned down and welcomed her and Stark's daughter. Morgan had never seen her father's friends before. When she saw those three, Lukas and Steve, and Scott, she greeted them happily. The mood of the meeting was not so difficult. Seeing Morgan Stark, Lukas couldn't stop but think of the words "love you" 3,000 times that the little girl and Stark said in the Avengers 4 premiere, which was tearful. This time, he reincarnated in the Marvel world. Lukas also wants to change the plot of Avengers 4. He will not let Stark wear gloves and snap his fingers because when he snaps his fingers, life and death are decided according to people's wishes. And people hate Thanos to end, so when Stark snaps his fingers, he will desire Thanos to disappear, and then Lukas would become ashes. On the other hand, Stark will die because of it. If Lukas could stop Stark, he would save himself and save Stark's life so that he could continue to accompany his daughter. After playing with Morgan for a while, Pepper soon took her daughter away cleverly. She knew that those three of Steve's team came to Stark, which was an essential thing. In the backyard, several people sat down one after another, and Tony Stark was also very direct and asked, "Go ahead, Steve, what I can do for you?" Steve said, "Tony, we can save those who are lost. We need your help." After all, Steve looked at Scott and motioned to Scott to explain the details. Scott said excitedly, "Hank Pym and your father used to be partners. You should also know the quantum realm very well. Then I won't need to explain much. We plan to use quantum realm technology to study the journey to the past. And then travel to the time when Thanos did not collect the 6 gems and took the 6 gems back separately. After gathering the gems, we made an infinite glove, then one of us will snap his fingers and reincarnated the disappeared half of the universe." Scott was very excited about what he said, and Stark was also very excited when he heard it. This idea is indeed too unrealistic. As the most intelligent man on Earth, Stark frowned and said, "Use the past to change the present, and we will need to travel together, and then separate to take the gems belonging to the past timeline." "Yes," Steve Rogers said seriously. "No." Stark immediately refused. "If we fail, everyone will be wiped out, and even if we succeed, it may change the current reality. I don't want to lose my daughter. If we want to kill Thanos just like when he killed half of our population with a finger snap, we must control the collateral damage so we won't kill any person wrongly." "Tony," Steve wanted to convince Stark. "Needless to say, we need to keep the what's left of the 5 years after Thanos snapped his fingers, and I think you should do the same." Tony Stark was very determined. At this moment, Lukas suddenly said, "Mr. Stark may think of our plan as the plot of Back to the Future. Who are you?" Tony Stark, a proud man, hadn't looked at Lukas until now. Lukas smiled and said, "Of course not. It sounds a bit like Back to the Future because there is only one universe at the beginning. Still, every time you go through the quantum space and every time you change an event, a new universe will be created, but unlike Back to the Future, even if the ABCD universe is created, it is still our main universe. If you don't believe it, you can ask Friday. Plus, my name is Lukas, and I am a mutant." Tony Stark was obviously unwilling to believe in Lukas. He didn't want to follow this young theory, who had never obtained a PhD or master's degree, at first sight, but Tony asked Steve, "Do you really believe this kid and the words he said?" Steve was straightforward, "As long as there is a glimmer of hope, we should try our best." Stark sighed and said, "Let's stop talking about this topic. If you stay for lunch, I still welcome you, but if you are continuing to discuss this topic again, then please leave." Both Steve and Scott's faces were slightly frustrated. Lukas also saw this scene in Avengers 4. Stark pretends to disagree, but in fact, he will go to study the workability of this matter secretly. "Let's go." Steve put on his sunglasses and prepared to leave. "You go first, and I want to stay." Lukas suddenly stopped and said. Scott said worriedly, "Tony doesn't seem to like you very much. I advise you to go with us so as not to be boring here alone." Lukas smiled confidently, "Are you worried about him kicking me out?" "Don't worry. I know how to make him accept me. Tony is a bit cruel. If he doesn't welcome you, he will never be polite to you. Even if you were Steve's friend, he will give an order to dismiss you without mercy." Scott didn't understand what Lukas could do to get Tony's agreement to stay here. Meanwhile, Pepper saw that everyone was leaving, and she took her little daughter Morgan out to goodbye them. Tony also walked out. Seeing that Lukas was standing a little far away from Steve and Scott, he seemed that he didn't want to leave. Tony quickly said to Lukas, "Man, don't blame me for speaking directly. Even if you want to stay here, I won't invite you for dinner." Lukas looked at Tony. This rich man was too rude, he didn't even invite him for a meal, and meanwhile, Lukas didn't plan to ask him for his opinion. They saw that Lukas suddenly became a 3-year-old boy shorter than Morgan and had a cute baby face. He waved and ran toward Tony's daughter with his little feet. In front of him, and holding Morgan's hand, he asked cutely, "Miss Morgan, can I play with you?" Everyone almost fainted laughing when they saw this scene. Damn, they did not see that coming. Lukas quickly thought of using this trick to stay in Tony's house. Tony was overprotective when it comes to his daughter. If Lukas were his daughter's friend, he would have no way to kick Lukas out. Steve also laughed aloud and said to Scott, "I finally know why he can be with your daughter. This guy is hilarious." After Lukas turned into a 3-year-old boy, Steve nodded and showed his gratitude to him. The next thing to convince Iran man is to trust in Lukas. At this moment, Steve began to be grateful that there was a shapeshifter like Lukas in the team, and he also had some good feelings for him. After that, Steve and Scott drove away, leaving Lukas alone there. After Lukas became a little boy, he grabbed Morgan's hand and went out to play. The 4-year-old girl and the 3-year-old boy were a perfect match, and they were easier to communicate with each other. In Morgan's belief, they were more like friends. The target character Morgan Stark is detected. Identity, Junior Avenger. Character level, C level. If Morgan likes the host, he will get 1000 points. Hearing the sudden sound from the system, Lukas was a little surprised. The 4-year-old girl has points rewards. Although 1000 points are not much, but it's good from nothing. Well, I don't think you should blame me for doing this to a 4-year-old girl. Lukas was also more willing to please this little girl. I have to say that it is too easy to satisfy a 4-year-old girl. Lukas asked, "Morgan, why are you called Morgan?" Morgan laughed out cutely and said, "Guess what the story behind it is?" Lukas said, "Is it the name your parents give you when they were dreaming?" Morgan was surprised by Lukas's little hands. "Wow, hello powerful, my mother named me after her strange uncle." System congratulations to the hoes of getting Morgan's like 1000 points redeemable for items now. Lukas just wanted to restore his Thanos strength fully, and he needed at least 3000 points, so he didn't exchange it. Soon, it was 10 o'clock in the evening. Lukas and Morgan had been playing since the afternoon. They also played together until they went to bed. Morgan took Lukas's hand and brought Lukas to her bed. "Lukas, you can sleep with me today. We can sleep on my pillow," Morgan said with a smile. "Yeah, okay." Lukas also gladly accepted. But at this moment, Tony suddenly walked into the room, grabbed Lukas, and said, "Morgan, he can't sleep with you. He and Dad still have essential things to do." Morgan was unhappy, and Tony hurriedly said, "Be good, go to sleep, love you 1000 times." As he said, Tony kissed Morgan's forehead. Morgan was lying on the bed, looking at her father, his face gradually showing a smile, and she said, "I love you 3000 times." Tony smiled, and Lukas also remembered seeing it in the movie theater. The scene of this scene must be the most famous sentence in Avenger 4. Lukas has guessed that in many videos on TikTok or Instagram, he used this sentence to get people's tears. Tony took Lukas out. I don't know what Tony would think if he knew that he was holding was Thanos. Tony put Lukas on the ground. Enough, change back to your original shape. Lukas transferred back to his original shape and smiled and said, Tony, I didn't stay here to convince you because I know that even if we don't convince you, you will try it privately. I want to make friends with you. Tony gave Lukas a look. I think you came to my daughter. She is only 4 years old. If you dare to do something her, you will die. Then, Tony came to the workbench and opened it. Holographic projection, asked Iron Man's machine system Friday, help me calculate whether it is possible to go back to the past through quantum realm technology, but even if history is changed, come back to the present. After a few seconds, Friday's given answer was, it's possible, Tony. In front of Lukas and Tony, a lot of data analysis and calculation results appeared. Stark suddenly realized, I understand it. This is similar to the concept of a parallel universe. If I make changes in the past, its direction will extend from the point of change to another universe. My previous universe has nothing to do with it. In that case, going back to the past to kill Thanos is useless, and it won't change the present. If you want to carry out this time-space travel plan, you must certainly go back to the exact past. At a certain point in time, I need to make such a device. Friday, I am calculating the material and time consumption of the device. Lukas was also very excited to watch from the sidelines. The time-space travel plan is finally about to begin. In Avengers 4, their plan was to bring the past Thanos to the present point in time. I don't know if there will be such a mistake this time. Stark is working, and Lukas is setting aside. And watching him, constantly eating cheeseburgers and drinking red wine, Stark got hungry for watching Lukas. Stark was also joined Lukas and start eating food and drinking wine. While eating, he said to Lukas, Lukas, can I ask you something? Oh. Iron Man has something to ask Lukas. Lukas was slightly surprised. Lukas was fully willing to help. He originally came to get closer to Iron Man because he knew that Iron Man would get the infinite gloves as a fateful thing. Doctor Strange has captured that scene. I have seen it. In other words, it may already exist in the timeline of the universe. Even if Lukas crossed from another dimension to Thanos's body, that does not mean that the events of the Avengers 4 movie would change. If such a thing happened, he could kill Iron Man at any time, but Lukas hopes to prevent this from happening. Therefore, he can only stop what Iron Man will do after he gets the gloves. Of course, Lukas imagined that if the destiny repeated itself, he would be prepared if it happens. He will naturally not let Iron Man have the opportunity to touch the infinite gloves. Lukas first asked the system, how many points can I get Iron Man's likes? The system said, Iron Man Tony Stark belongs to an S-rank character and can get 10,000 points. When Lukas heard this, he replied to Stark, let's talk about it. I will do it for you. Stark finished the burger, washed his hand, and then looked sadly at Peter Parker's photo Spider-Man which was on the table. And then said with a sad face, Peter Parker, he is Spider-Man, you know. I have always treated him as my son. I always want to protect him from everything. Unfortunately, I couldn't bring him to the Earth with me. When Thanos snapped his fingers on the Earth, I, Peter Parker, and the low-intellectual Peter Quill and his team of the Guardian of the Galaxy didn't know about what was happening. I saw the people around me. One by one turned into ashes and blown away by the wind. If Peter disappeared like everyone else in an instant, I might not feel so sad in my heart, but he was not an ordinary person. He has a spider sensitivity and can predict danger. In other words, before his body turned into ashes, he already knew he was going to die. At that time, he grabbed my hand in advance and told me that he didn't want to die, so I grabbed his hand hard, but I couldn't do anything. I watched him disappear in front of me. At this point, the old Stark's eyes were filled with tears. As a Marvel fan, how could Lukas not know Stark's feelings for Peter Parker? Stark calmed down for a moment and then said, "Fortunately, now we can save him. He will reappear in front of us soon and continue chatter, but his aunt doesn't know yet. She is still grieving. In the pain of losing Peter. Lukas, you can transform. I want you to become Peter Parker. Go visit his aunt and let her know that Peter Parker is not dead." Tony Stark also heard of Peter Parker's aunt. Because of the loss of Spider-Man, she became depressed. Since Spider-Man will come back soon, he wants to make Spider-Man's aunt happy. Otherwise, it would be a tragedy if he can't make it back. Peter Parker's aunt. Aunt May. Lukas suddenly thought, Spider-Man's aunt. She is a stunning beauty. Although she is a little older, she has a super sexy body. It is hard to tell that she is that old. The owners of the small shops living around are all thinking about her every day. Thinking of Aunt May's hot body, Lukas couldn't stop swallowing and decided to see Aunt May. "I am delighted to be Thanos." Lukas washed his mouth and said, "Don't worry, Tony, leave it to me. I promise to make Peter's aunt so happy to fly." Stark patted Lukas on the shoulder. Thank you so much. I will build this time machine as soon as possible during this period. As soon as there is any progress, I will notify you and Steve immediately." Okay. Since Lukas can't help Star either, I will go to the charming Aunt May's house and comfort her if you are so busy. According to Tony Stark, Aunt May no longer lives in Queens, NY, but moved to Miami, Florida. Miami is a good place, especially in the current season. Going to South Beach to swim and surf and see the charming bikini beauties is a pleasure for the body and mind. Lukas had been to Miami in his previous life, and he came shortly before his reincarnation to watch Dwayne Wade's last performance in the Miami Heat. Speaking of NBA, Marvel World also has it, but because Thanos made half of the universe disappear, and NBA players were reduced by half, there are now only a few teams left, and the ratings are not as high as before. When he arrived in Miami, it was already 7 p.m., and Lukas took Aunt May's address and found Aunt May's residence. At this time, he had transformed into the appearance of Spider-Man Peter Parker. Ding dong. Lukas rang the doorbell outside. Soon, a mature woman wearing an orange shirt, a short black skirt, and long smooth hair appeared in front of Lukas. She is Peter Parker's aunt, Aunt May. Oh my God, she is so beautiful. Before she comes, Lukas was a little worried. Aunt May is not young anymore, and 5 years have passed. For these 5 years, she may become very sad every day because of the loss of Peter Parker. She may not be good looking as before. However, Lukas never expected that the current Aunt May still has the charm and looks younger than 5 years ago. She's amazing. She looks like a woman in her 30s. Although Lukas was very excited, he still did not do anything but keeping his eyes on the orange mountain peaks. Her sexy body was a lifelong thing. Even if she was old, there were some parts still the same. It was worth looking at. When Aunt May saw Lukas with Peter Parker's face, she was stunned, then yelled and hugged Lukas. Because Aunt May was tall, but Peter Parker was short, and because Aunt May was standing now, Lukas took a step toward May. As a result, this hug directly faced Lukas's face. The orange-colored mountain went up. This. Lukas was held tightly in Aunt May's arms and couldn't breathe. Lukas couldn't blame Aunt May, and she really missed Peter Parker too much. While holding Lukas, Aunt May said in a crying voice, "Silly boy, where have you been in the past 5 years? I thought you were dead." Lukas was also a little helpless. It isn't very comfortable to hold, but after another thought, it's also enjoyable. After all, May is not his aunt, and he has no relative with May. After being hugged by Aunt May for a while, Aunt May took Lukas's hand and took him inside the house. Lukas was afraid to see a strange man in her home. After all, Aunt May has a sexy body. No matter where she goes, many men are chasing her, but he found that Aunt May was still single. Speaking of the beauty of Aunt May, the director of the movie Spider-Man: Homecoming actually used 2 stalkers to let the audience know how beautiful and hot Aunt May was. Her body was scarce. A true fan should know, in Marvel's movies, every line, every scene, aren't just some unimportant or straightforward scenes, like the sentence on your left in Captain America: The Winter Soldier, but this scene also put in Avengers: Endgame by the producers. In the movie Spider-Man they actually praised Aunt May's appearance twice. The first time happened when she was eating a salad with Peter Parker. The young male waiter showed his good wishes to Aunt May, and the other was the store owner. In front of Peter Parker, he said his aunt was really a surprise. Lukas finally understood the feel of other guys when they saw Aunt May, and he praised her beauty 1,000 times. It's not an exaggeration. Aunt May grabbed Lukas's hand and didn't let it go. She kept asking where he had been in the past 5 years, why he didn't contact her, and so on. Lukas had already prepared out the answer long before he came and dealt with it calmly. Before they knew it, the two had been talking until 1 o'clock in the morning, and Lukas was a little sleepy, but Aunt May still had more to say and wanted to talk to Lukas. "Peter, are you sleepy? Talk with Aunt May for a little bit. I'm afraid that when I wake up, you will be gone." Aunt May begged Lukas like a little girl. Lukas holds Aunt May's hand and put his other hand on her leg, and said, "Aunt May, you put your arms around me when we sleep tonight, so you won't be afraid of losing me. That's it. It's settled. Go to my room." Aunt May doesn't mind sleeping with Peter Parker. After all, Peter Parker is the one who looks up to her, and they slept together when he was young. When he came to Aunt May's bedroom, Lukas lay on Aunt May's body bed and waited for her, which made Lukas the luckiest man, and he was delighted. "I'm sorry, Peter Parker, but your aunt is very sexy. It's not that I want to take advantage. No man can resist it." When Lukas was holding Aunt May and preparing to fall asleep, the system suddenly made a sound. The target character May is detected. Identity: Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Character level: Grade B. If May likes the host, he will get 2,000 points. Lukas was stunned. What is going on? Aunt May turned out to be a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. One of the S.H.I.E.L.D. The agent was named May and she was of Chinese descent, and her name was Melinda May, who was completely different from Aunt May, and her appearance was much worse. Lukas was very convinced that Aunt May was originally an ordinary woman. It is considered that it takes years to become an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. She hasn't been in grief all the time, and maybe she turned grief and anger into motivation. Lukas wanted to know what happened to Aunt May in the past 5 years and how she turned from an ordinary woman to a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, and he also wants to know who is leading S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, Nick Fury or Phil Coulson, or Daisy John. Therefore, Lukas immediately asked Aunt Mai, what have you been doing for the past 5 years? Aunt Mai turned her body to look at Lukas, and it didn't matter if she exposed a bit of her breast and said with a smile, what can I do? It's just relaxing under the sun and keeping fit. Lukas took a look at places that shouldn't look from time to time and said, Aunt Mai is not telling the truth, you have something to hide from me. Say, what the hell happened while I was gone? Were you doing good? If don't say, I'm going to tickle you. Don't tickle me. You know I'm so sensitive. Aunt Mai quickly shrank her body, and she seemed to be really ticklish. Lukas smiled and then pressed Aunt Mai under her body. Hey, if you are afraid of being tickled, please tell the truth quickly. No. Although Aunt Mai was afraid, she kept silent. Lukas was not polite, anyway. It wasn't his aunt, so he immediately tickled her. Ah, don't tickle. Aunt Mai kept shaking her body exaggeratedly and then laughed loudly when Lukas found the charming woman laughing even more. Speak quickly. Lukas kept pressing Aunt Mai. But Aunt Mai completely considered it as a play, and she didn't take it seriously. Although she laughed loudly, she just refused to tell the truth. Lukas was a little impatient now. How dare she not answer Thanos's questions? It seems that we must rely on a trick. Lukas smiled. Aunt Mai, if you don't say anything, I will not tickle you anymore. I might do something sillier. Aunt Mai lay down on the bed, looking up at Lukas. Hooked Lukas's nose with her hand, she smiled and said coldly, what can you do to me, you stinky kid? Lukas decided to be no longer polite, to be reincarnated, and he can't do whatever he wants. It would be too frustrating. Since at this moment, Aunt Mai invoked Lukas's most sexual thoughts, Lukas ignored everything and leaned down directly and kissed Aunt Mai. Ah! Aunt Mai was slightly shocked, and she never expected that Lukas would kiss her. In Aunt Mai's memories, she and Peter Parker had never kissed, but it was a pure kiss as an elder. Some families have a manner that they could kiss a relative. The child, whether it is a father or a mother, will kiss the child to express love. In Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse movie, Spider-Man went to school. His father walked him to the school gate. In front of all the students in the school, his father ordered Spider-Man to say I love you to his father. However, at this moment, Aunt Mai can no longer consider Lukas's kiss as a pure kiss between elders and children. Aunt Mai was a little flustered, but she didn't know how to refuse for a while, so she had to accept. 10 minutes later. Bang! The window in the living room of Aunt Mai's house was suddenly destroyed, and there was a loud noise that interpreted Lukas and Aunt Mai's special moment. After that, the two stopped kissing. Damn it, what bastard smashed the window? Who has the courage to break Lukas's special moment with Aunt Mai? However, at this time, Lukas had already been got Aunt Mai's like and had obtained those 2,000 points. Aunt Mai's 2,000 points, plus Morgan Stark's 1,000 points, Lukas now has 3,000 points, which can be exchanged for a healing green pill. I'll go and see, don't come out. Aunt Mai wiped her lips with a tissue, then immediately put on her shoes and walked out. Lukas was not in a hurry to exchange the points with the healing green pill. After all, he already had half the strength of Thanos. Even if he was against Hulk, half of Thanos's strength was more than enough to deal with him. He looked at Aunt Mai very nervously, guessing that it was not as simple as a child smashing the window, so he immediately got up from the bed and went downstairs. He was ready to support her. Aunt Mai took a pistol and then walked out with a very special agent attitude, and when she saw familiar people outside, she immediately raised her gun and shot. Bang bang bang. Aunt Mai knew who that person was, so she started firing at her 3 shots in a row. And that woman, instead of escaping, used her hands to create a powerful shock wave and attacked Aunt Mai. The bullet hit the shock wave and immediately fell to the ground. Agent Me, tell me where Coulson is hiding. The person outside was speaking. She had a woman voice. Lukas was shocked when he heard the woman's voice in the house. Coulson. Does she mean Phil Coulson? He really is not dead. Just when Lukas just put on his clothes and shoes and was about to run out to support May, suddenly, the whole house was shaking powerfully. Is it an earthquake? Lukas was a little surprised. If it is not caused by an earthquake, there is only one possibility. Plus 2 earthquakes, there were people with superpowers that can cause earthquakes. Lukas knew of someone who could do this, Daisy John, also named Sky. Daisy John is the only agent with level 10 security clearance besides Nick Fury and Black Widow in the comics. In the Marvel world where Lukas is now, she is also Phil Coulson's right-hand assistant. Even after joining SHIELD, Daisy's awakened superpower was creating shock waves even though she was from an alien race. Therefore, people gave her the nickname Shock Girl. Since his reincarnation in this world, Lukas discovered that many people know the Shock Girl whose reputation is no less than the reputation of Iron Man. As Cassie said, she often saw Shock Girl on TV 5 years ago presenting female news. Before the appearance of Lincoln, Lukas had thought about the possibility of Daisy John's death. Outside the house, the mixed-race beauty Daisy John directly sent a shock wave to Aunt May's house door and then threatened, "Tell me the location of Coulson. Otherwise, I will kill you. You can kill me, but I won't give you anything." Aunt May was furious. Lukas didn't know why Daisy John asked Aunt May about Coulson, but he knew it was time for him to appear on the stage. Daisy John used her hands to aim at Aunt May's body and said, "Okay, don't blame me for being rough. Stop." Lukas suddenly walked out of the room, then walked to Aunt May and Daisy. They were outside the house. Lukas said to Daisy, "Daisy John, you came to destroy our house at night, are you mad? Do you know what time it is? People in the neighborhood need to sleep." Lukas has recovered 50% of Thanos' skill. There is no problem dealing with an alien female, so, with solid support, Lukas also played kung fu games in his previous life, mixing Thanos' power with some kung fu moves. Daisy doesn't have a chance against him. After Daisy John saw Lukas in Peter Parker shape, she actually lowered her hands and said with a look of surprise, "Spider-Man." What? Daisy John knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. Aunt May was also stunned for a moment and looked at Lukas, "Are you the Spider-Man who used to do good things in Queens?" Lukas quickly denied, "No, I am not Spider-Man." Daisy John said, "You don't need to deny it, don't forget, I was a senior agent of SHIELD before, and I also temporarily become the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. I know the true identity of all the superheroes, not only I know, but Coulson also knows." "Oh, yes, Mai, because you are not level enough, so you don't know." After listening to Daisy John, Aunt May sarcastically said, "You traitor, you should be ashamed of yourself." She was a loyal agent from S.H.I.E.L.D. Lukas was stunned after hearing that. Daisy John had betrayed SHIELD and became an enemy of S.H.I.E.L.D. No wonder she would come to ask Aunt May and acts like that. However, Daisy John was an excellent agent. Why had she become the wrong person? Daisy John raised her hands once again, and made a combat position, and said to Lukas, "Come on, spit out your spider silk, and let's see which one's attack is powerful, your spider web or my shock wave." Aunt Mai saw this. Encouragingly patted Lukas on the shoulder. "I believe in you, come on. Shoot her with a spider web." Lukas looked embarrassed. Why did she encourage me to use a spider web? This is not my Thanos' usual attack method, okay? However, at this time, if he shows his true identity and returns to his original shape, will it be too embarrassing? Lukas asked the system, "Can I have the ability of Spider-Man?" The system said, "Yes, the host can have the ability of Spider-Man, but he needs to use 9,000 points. Your points are only 3,000, which cannot be exchanged." Lukas moved his head. Even if he had 9,000 points, he wouldn't exchange it because Spider-Man's skill was useless for Thanos. As long as he restored Thanos' strength to 100%, it would be enough to face anyone and kill other heroes in seconds. "Lukas, you have also seen that these two sexed beauties asked me to use spider webs. Can the system help me to use this skill for once?" The system said, "This system can give the host a Spider-Man skill out of sympathy to use it only once, but it can't give the host Spider-Man's ability." Okay. Anyway, let's pass this embarrassing moment first. Lukas didn't talk nonsense. After the spider web presented by the system was in the hands of Lukas, he threw it out directly at Daisy John. Daisy John immediately sent back shock waves with both hands to resist. Still, the seemingly soft spider web, with the power of Thanos' 50% combat power, his attack broke through Daisy John's defenses and was directly thrown at Daisy John's face. PIA. The spider web was tightly attached to Daisy John's left cheek. Daisy touched her cheek with her hand and said with disgust, "Why are your spider webs smelly and sticky? And as I remember, that's not Spider-Man's style. He moves a lot when he fights. You are not Spider-Man at all. Who are you?" Aunt Mai also looked at Lukas in surprise. Is he really Peter? Everyone knows that Spider-Man can spit out spider silk and fly around lightly, but Lukas couldn't do this. Now, he can only show his true colors. With half the strength of Thanos, Lukas is not afraid to show up but embarrassed to face Aunt Mai. After all, he just lied to her for a 10-minute kiss. Aunt Mai's heartbeat also sped up, looking at Lukas, and said, "You are not my Peter. He wouldn't do anything like that to me." After listening to Aunt Mai's complaint, Lukas thought, "Damn, just now in those 10 minutes, you obviously enjoyed it, okay? And in the first 3 minutes, I took the lead, and you took the lead later, Aunt Mai. Unfortunately, you can't blame a woman who has been lonely for too long." Lukas changed back to what he was before and then said to Aunt Mai, "Aunt Mai, I'm from Tony Stark. My name is Lukas. He asked me to seduce you." "Oh, no, I mean pretend to be Peter to make you happy." Aunt Mai's heart burst out with swear words. "I was almost fooled by the person he sent. Tony Stark, the Iron Man, did such a wicked thing to make my old lady heart happy." Seeing that Lukas wasn't Peter, Daisy John was slightly a little bit surprised but shocked. After all, she had been an agent of SHIELD for a long time with a high level. Daisy John said to Lukas, "You are also an alien. We are the same kind. I don't want to fight against you. Since you have nothing to do with don't involve in this matter and go away." Aunt Mai's body shook a little nervously. Lukas stood in front of her and said, "You just interrupt me and Aunt Mai's good time, and I won't spare you." Daisy John said coldly, "You are young, but the taste of young boys is good and unique." "Good, then I will teach you a lesson. Since you are nosy, I will do it roughly. Daisy John is actually a gorgeous mixed race. Her mother is human, and she is also the leader of an alien race. She can live forever, and her body was cut to pieces by Hydra. Then Daisy's father himself sewn her body, and his own daughter and wife finally killed him." There was a smile on Lucas's face, and he didn't need to pretend that he is Spider-Man or use his Spidey skill anymore. He could use his hands and teach the shock girl a lesson. Before Daisy John started the attack, Lukas grabbed the room door that was shaken by Daisy with one hand and smashed it at Daisy John. Boom! Half of Thanos' strength should not be underestimated. Daisy John's body was smashed out, and she was puking blood. Aunt May saw that Lucas's strength is so muscular. She was surprised how a young boy with a skinny body can be that strong. She came and said to Lukas, "That door is new. Can you hit her with something else?" Lukas saw a white Volkswagen Polo car parked in the yard, walked over, raised the car with both hands, and threw it directly at Daisy John. Ah! Daisy John was hit harder again. Aunt Mai saw that her car was missing 2 tires in an instant, and she secretly said, "Why didn't I just let him smash her with the door?" Daisy John noticed that Lukas had no power to fight back, but she was very unconvinced and lay down. On the ground, she said, "You monster, I will make sure that you will lose everything. When did our Inhumans come out with someone as bad as you? Why don't you use your superpowers? Why don't you use any weapons?" At this point, Lukas realized that there is really a weapon difference, but he doesn't need a weapon, he is so strong with his bare hands, and it doesn't seem to make a big difference between using guns or not. Just when Lukas was about to ask Daisy John what happened, he suddenly heard a roaring motorcycle noise not far away, and soon he saw a burning motorcycle swiftly driving towards this side. He saw a burning skull, wearing a black leather jacket, riding a black Harley motorcycle with an iron chain tied to the car, rushing towards them. "It's an evil spirit rider." Lukas immediately recognized this guy as soon as he saw this outfit. And according to Lukas's guess, this is Ghost Rider the 4th generation, named Robbie Reyes, not Johnny Blazer in the Soul Chariot, because Robbie Reyes exists in Agents of SHIELD. The character Johnny does not belong to the MCU movie universe. According to Lukas's information, Robbie Reyes also dealt with the demon Mephisto before becoming a Ghost Knight, and his strength is mighty. When Robbie Reyes got off his motorcycle, he waved the chain that braved the flames to attack Lukas. Lukas immediately grabbed Robbie's fire chain with his bare hands, which surprised Robbie Reyes. "Ordinary people. I can't bear such a big force. However, I never expected that Daisy John would attack Lukas at this time, sending out an attack wave against him." Lukas flew out a few meters away while resisting it. Robbie Reyes showed off the chain of fire on his shoulders and asked Daisy John, "Who is this guy? How the hell can he fight like that without using any weapon?" Daisy John nodded, "I don't know where this strong come from, neither his ability. Let's not be involved with this kind of people. The low-level agent May doesn't even know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. She probably doesn't know the location of Coulson. Let's go." Speaking, Daisy John waved a shock wave with both hands towards the ground and flew directly from the spot to the air to leave, with an attitude like Captain Marvel. That's it for this part, guys. Hope you like the video. Like, share and subscribe the channel. And also tell me in the comment section down below if you have any recommendation. Thanks for watching.